Thank you so much. Welcome. This is Manhattan Community Board 1's monthly board meeting. My name is Tammy Meltzer. I'm the chairperson. And we start all our monthly meetings with our public session. Each person from the public will have 2 minutes to speak. We will have a timer running. Please don't be offended if you get cut off. It's just the way the timer works. All righty. So we're going to start off with our public session, and I believe the first person to speak who has speaking is, we'll take Grace Kelly. Let's see if I can pronounce her. Grace Kelly Price will be first, followed by Elaine Kennedy. So we will find you in the attendees and we will unmute you.
Tam, I don't see Grace Kelly Price. I also don't see Elaine Kennedy attendees list.
See if I find them. Let's move just Coleman over, by the way. All right, so we will move on. Ricky Wong from 250 Water has signed up to speak. So Ricky's here yet? It's a lot easier. Yep, Ricky's here. He's there.
One moment.
I'm not sure who the polling user is, by the way.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Ricky, welcome. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ricky Wong, Director of Community Relations for the Howard Hughes Corporation. I'd like to thank everyone involved with yesterday evening's community benefit concert featuring CeeLo Green and his band. It was a great show, and all ticket proceeds went to UA3 Community First Food Pantry, which remains a crucial resource for community residents faced with food insecurity, especially during the pandemic. The concert enabled HHC to donate $25,000 to UA3. So again, thank you to all who attended. HHC continues to support the work of scores of diverse nonprofits and organizations here in the Seaport and throughout Community Board 1 in Lower Manhattan. There are too many to mention, but I'll highlight a few, including Alfred E. Smith Houses, Manhattan Youth, LMCC, the Bowery Mission, Ali Fournet Center, Henry Street Settlement, Battery Conservancy, Vision Urbana, the Chinese American Planning Council, All-Star Projects, Taj Gibson Foundation, the Jewish Learning Experience, National Alliance on Mental Illness, Girl Scouts of Greater New York Troop 6000, the Lower Manhattan Historical Association, Sanctuary for Families, amongst many other important community-based organizations. HHC is also proud to fund and host an array of arts and cultural exhibits, performances, and events, including the Lunar New Year celebration, near NYC Pride, the Christmas tree lighting, menorah lighting, Seaport Fit, Seaport Cinema, National Night Out, Hester Street Fair, Seaport Sounds, and many other events. Currently, we have the Bill Cunningham exhibition from our friends at Live Rocket, the Magic Hour curated by Kamau Ware of Black Gotham Experience, and we have free kids yoga through Seaport Kids. We hope to see you all at some fun upcoming events, including the always savory Taste of the Seaport, which HHC is delighted to once again co-sponsor and will take place at Piers 16 and 17 on Saturday, October 16th. Taste of the Seaport benefits the students of the Peck Slip and Spruce Street schools, as well as supporting our wonderful local downtown restaurants. For more information on these upcoming events, please check out theseaport.nyc. Thank you, and please stay safe and well.
Thank you very much, Ricky. And you just hit the timer. Nicely timed. All righty, let's move on. Catherine O'Sullivan, let's see if she's here.
Do not see Catherine O'Sullivan.
People are surprised that we're going to be moving along here. You don't see Grace, right? You see Asika Badi. She's going to be part of the Independent Redistricting Commission later. She should be here.
Can you repeat that name, Tammy? I didn't quite hear you.
I'll take a look for her and text her. Catherine O'Sullivan.
Still no.
Can you check who the 845 caller is? The caller that dials in.
Hi, call-in user 845282. Can you identify yourself, please?
Hi, yeah, this is Claire. I'm not a speaker.
Okay, thank you, Claire.
I am getting some information that some people are having troubles logging in, just so you know. Jenna Cristofante, who is from the Performing Arts Center.
I don't believe so. I heard you call Elaine's name. I know she's one of the people that's having trouble getting on, but if you want to keep running down the names, I'll find somebody who's on.
Perfect. I think those are actually all the public who would like to speak before we go to our elected reps and before we go to some of the others. So since I see some of our elected representatives are here, I'm perfectly happy to just run through and do those and move on with that. And our elected representatives do get 3 minutes apiece. I see that Cora is here, so let's start with Cora.
Cora, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Cora.
Hello, hello.
Cora, we can hear you just fine. Can you try and troubleshoot for her?
How about now?
We can
Is
hear
it
you,
working?
Cora.
Thank
We can
you.
hear you.
Do you hear me well? Sorry, everybody.
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay. I don't. Thank you, as long as you can hear me. Hey, everyone, I'm Cora from Councilmember Chin's office. Just a few items to share. Yesterday morning, Councilmember Chin joined the mayor and the trust of Governors Island to announce the Governors Island going to open all year round. Some of you may have already heard about it. This is something that Councilmember Chin has been working closely towards her last term to make this happen. And the NYC Ferry is expanded to the Lower East Side in the City Council District 2 in Councilmember Rivera's area. She also partnered with Councilmember Rivera and the other council members to work on a bill package that helps delivery workers. She really thinks that it's important as the delivery workers, they help us through the pandemic. So finally, the City Council passed legislation that will create transparency, like how the workers will be paid through that third-party apps. It's also good for consumer knowledge. It also gives the workers a breakdown of the percentage of how much tips they're getting. And it also gives them the liberty to choose the distance that they're going to drive or bike for each delivery. Yesterday, Councilmember Chin also chaired a hearing on Get Food NYC. She talks about homebound seniors and advocates for them as much as she can, pushing the administration to understand just because the senior centers are open, it doesn't mean that the homebound seniors get those meals. They still have to receive those services. So we got lots of information and feedback from that. Also with light pollution, we started getting complaints again. Thank you for those who alerted our office. We have already filed the legislation process, especially on light pollution, and we're going to work something out to see how we can tackle that situation. That happened before COVID time. Pollution and our office work together. We identify all sorts of light pollution. So we're going to report back on that. And that's from the council member's office. Thank you. Thank you, Tammy.
Sorry, I had muted myself. Thank you, Cora. Let's go from Cora down to Hannah Wienerman.
Hi, can
Yep.
you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Wienerman from Congressman Jerry Nadler's office. So big item are the debates around the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a vote yet, so I don't have an answer for you yet. So if those bills pass, there's a lot of conversation around what that looks like. So I'll come back to the committee once I have more information about that. But Congressman Nadler has had quite a busy week in DC. The Judiciary Committee passed 13 bills out of committee, including the MORE Act, which is the federal legalization of marijuana, which is going to be sent out of committee and have a vote on the House floor. I'm not sure yet when yet, but I'll let you know. The committee also passed the Crown Act, which prohibits the discrimination on the basis of hair texture or hairstyles associated with a particular race or national origin at a committee, which is very exciting. The House itself passed the Equal Act, which is a bipartisan bill that eliminates the unjust sentencing disparity between crack cocaine and powder cocaine offenses. This is something that criminal justice reform have been fighting for a long time. So it's really exciting that it passed the House. We'll see what happens in the Senate. On a local note, if anyone's home got damaged from Ida, I know that, it feels like a few weeks ago at this point, but if there's anybody that is experiencing any sort of damage from the hurricane, you can contact FEMA to report the damage and to get disaster assistance. So that can be found at disasterassistance.gov, or you can call 1-800-621-3362. Our caseworkers want me to flag that if anyone's having issues with the child care tax credits, let us know. We can help you out with that as well. The last item, on a very local note, Congressman Nadler joined at the press conference for 250 Water Street, encouraging for a full remediation plan to be presented to the community, making sure that the community would have the opportunity to weigh in on this. We shouldn't start digging before we know what we're building. And to support the extension of the public comment period to October 15th. So lots happening locally. If anybody has any questions, any federal concerns, I'll leave my information in the chat. It's a pleasure to be with you always. Thanks, everyone.
And I just wanted to say a special thank you to him for showing up at many local events lately. And sadly to say that we, as of the start of this meeting, we had no confirmation of an extension of the deadline. So just thought I would mention that. If you don't mind sticking around, I do see some hands up by board members, which is fine. Gerald, you had a question for Hannah Wienerman?
I had a question for Cora. Is she still on?
Oh yeah, Cora's still here.
Okay, wonderful. Cora, in regards to Governors Island, the rezoning was premised largely on the need to, or the desire to be open 24/7 in order to make finances to be open 24/7. Where did, as I understand, maybe there was some sort of $150 million that got given to Governors Island through the city. Does this mean that the rezoning is off the table now? It's not needed after all, or what transpired that suddenly they were able to find funds to open the island 24/7 without the rezoning and without the development moving forward?
I'm going to connect you with my colleague, Anthony Drummond. He is our land use zoning director, and he's been working on this project with council members. So tomorrow I'm going to make sure that he got your email and contact, and then he can have a chat with you. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Cora.
Okay, we'll move next to Amy Vera, who is our one of our new contacts at Assembly Member News Office. Amy?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Very well, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. I hope you all are doing well. First, I wanted to start off and say that the Assembly member says hi, and unfortunately, she couldn't make it today, but she hopes that you are all doing well, staying safe, and are healthy. No big updates, but I just wanted to update you all on the past month. So, On September 1st, Elaine spoke before the Assembly in favor of extending the eviction moratorium until January 2020. And while only 7% of the total money allocated to New York State has been doled out to applicants, we still believe this is unacceptable. While the Assembly has held hearings on this issue, Elaine has continued to call out her colleagues to ensure to do more and provide more relief to small landlords and tenants who have received the brunt of the economic damages from the pandemic. Elaine is proud to stand with the struggling renters and small landlords as we collectively demand better from our state government. Also, Elaine would like to thank the many community members and community board participants who conducted open meetings and the entire network of community boards for continuing your essential work during this pandemic. She will continue to think first and foremost about your safety as our state makes accommodations for these unprecedented times that we're living in, and COVID in regards to public gatherings. Also, Elaine just wanted to double down and say that she will continue to ensure that unemployment support is a priority for the state under the new administration, and that she will continue to urge the federal government to extend funding so that cash-strapped states do not bear the full brunt of the cost of this national crisis. And if you all have any questions for me, I'll leave my email down below.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Tracy Jackson, I see you here from Assemblymember Glick's office. Did you also want to do your report? And if someone can unmute.
Hi.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm awkward with WebEx. I'm new to it. So, hi everyone. I'm Tracy Jackson from Deborah Glick's office. The Assembly member actually may pop into the meeting a little bit later if she can, but I was also going to mention, as my colleague from Assembly Member News office said, that the legislature went into session in early September to extend the eviction moratorium, and we did add $150 million to the program that would help landlords, small landlords, who are still struggling to collect rent that is in arrears. So if anyone is still needs rental assistance, the emergency rental assistance program expanded eligibility slightly, and so that is still accepting applications. And there is now the ability for small landlords to apply as well if their tenants for some reason have been unwilling to or unable to apply, or if they have vacated the apartment, landlords can now apply as well. So that information should be found on the OTDA website. It's the Office of, oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me. I always forget the acronym. My apologies. The Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, and I can put a link to that in the chat. And anyone is certainly welcome to contact our office for assistance with that as well. The other thing that I would mention, and is that the Assembly member is highlighting this week, is the Department of City Planning is hosting a hearing on Wednesday, October 6th at 10 a.m. to discuss the text amendment for permanent open restaurants. So if you have any strong feelings on that, one way or the other, and would like to testify, you can find information on the city planning website, and that link is also in our board report. So those are the two main things I would highlight. And if anyone has any questions, you're certainly welcome to reach out. I'll put my contact information in the chat, or you're welcome to call our office anytime. Thank you.
Tracy, do you mind staying on for a bit? There is some stuff going on in the district that I'll cover in my chair report that I'd love you to be on for.
Of course.
I know you have many places to go
on.
to other meetings, but I wanted to specifically call it out. Emily,
yep, I'll be staying on. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Emily Lang is new to, I believe, Senator Kavanaugh's office and has joined us. So we want to welcome her next. Emily, welcome to Manhattan Community Board 1. We look forward to seeing you in person, but right now we're really grateful that we can be here virtually.
Thanks, Tammy. Really glad to be here. As she mentioned, I'm Emily. I am a new community liaison with Senator Brian Kavanaugh's office. Really excited to work with you all, and I'll make sure to put my email in the chat as well if you want to reach out. So as a couple of people have already mentioned, the eviction moratorium was extended to January 2022. Senator Kavanaugh was the lead sponsor on that, and our office worked really hard to make that happen. Additionally, I wanted to flag ERAP again. We are really encouraging people to apply and definitely help spread the word about that. New York is currently leading the country in the overall amount of ERAP assistance that's been paid out. And I know that the application system isn't the best, so if you know anyone who needs help, please send them our way and we can connect them with organizations that are assisting with that. On the community side, our office has been really involved in the community meetings on 5 World Trade Center, and we are actively working to push on affordable housing and explore every option to expand affordability at the site. And we know that the community has a lot of questions that haven't been answered, and frankly, our office does as well. So as some of you may already know, we're hoping to propose a public forum with the relevant agencies, elected offices, and community stakeholders in order to just increase the community engagement there and hopefully bring everyone to the table to talk publicly about that. And we'll have more details on that soon and are going to be in touch with all the relevant groups to organize it, but we're hopefully shooting for something in early October. Other than that, I don't have too many other updates and happy to take questions if there are any, and I'll drop my email in the chat again. Thanks. I think you're muted, Tammy.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to keep on with our elected official representatives since we're here. I see Andrew Chang has joined us from the Borough President's office, and then we will move back right afterwards to more speaking from the public. Andrew, welcome.
Hey everybody, Gail's trying to join herself, so I'm just gonna see when she's able to log on. She's joining right now. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Andrew. All right, so with that, flexibility in the virtual world is the way we work. Let's go back to some of the people who had signed up for the public session who have joined us. I see Elaine Kennedy is here now. So if we can unmute Elaine.
Can you hear me?
I can, thank you, and welcome, Elaine.
Hi, thank you, Tammy. Thank you, community board members. I'd like to speak in favor of the land use, zoning and economic development on the Seaport ULURP disposition, that the community board, full board, go ahead and vote on this resolution as it's written. It's well written and it speaks to all the issues that our community has with the ULURP as proposed. And I know the BCP is not on the agenda tonight, but I'm not sure if the community board received notice that the DEC was not going to extend the RAWP comments until October 15th, despite the hundreds of letters that were sent in from this community. We have not even received an acknowledgement. We have not received an email, a phone call, any kind of notice at all. Even to say we are not extending your proposal. As of this moment, I don't know if the community board received anything, but we haven't. And I would like the community board to protest the fact that now we don't seem to have any input into or rapport with anyone at the DEC. And that the fact that they can ignore us is outrageous. And I would ask the community board to express our sentiments to the DEC. We have done so today ourselves, but we would like the community board to back us on that, if possible. Thank you.
Elaine, I will tell you that we have already sent a letter to DEC.
Thank you.
Not with Laura's comments, but with our own. So that'll get shared publicly and we will be able to see that. So that's no problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm trying to help our friends over at the Performing Arts Center, Jenna, get on. She is having some trouble getting in and out. And so I'm going to ask Diana. She sent an email. If you can send her the dial-in phone number so she can dial in, that would be really helpful. And we go back to our spreadsheet to see who else has signed up to speak. Let's see if I see Kelly. Is she back? She is not. So we have two people assigned to speak this evening a little bit later, but we can welcome them earlier and get them so they don't have to sit and wait. I see Sarah Krabheim has joined us from the Trust for Govs Island. So let's unmute Sarah with the exciting updates that we have, and that way we can ask some more questions. All right. Diana, Lucian, or Jen, can you unmute Sarah, please?
Sarah, you're on your end.
Great. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can.
I apologize that you can't see me. My video for some reason is not working. Hi everyone, and hi Tammy and Diana. Thanks so much for inviting me to join this evening. So this week we announced some incredibly exciting news about Govs Island. Starting this fall, for the first time in history, Govs Island is going to be publicly accessible year-round, 7 days a week. The mayor announced this at his daily briefing on Tuesday, and this has been a long time coming, something that I know Community Board 1 has long advocated for. So, want to thank everyone for your continued support and efforts with this, but we're really thrilled, and I think COVID has obviously underscored the need for open space and equitable access to open space. So this is a huge step in the right direction. Just some details and nuts and bolts around what this means. Hopefully many of you have been out to the island this summer, and now we're into fall. Our hours will remain the same as they've been all season through October 31st. So that means we are open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. Beginning November 1st, we will be expanding our hours to be open earlier in the day. So we will be open 7 a.m. to 6:15 p.m. 7 days a week. Hopefully that means you can come to the island and get your morning jog in, or just enjoy the park space a little bit earlier. The other exciting piece of news that I want to share, we will continue to run our ferry service from Lower Manhattan in the quote unquote off season. Ferries will run frequently. It's roughly every 40 minutes. Our ferries will continue to be free for residents of NYCHA, ID NYC holders. Ferries are also free for kids under 12, for seniors, and for military personnel. But we have also just announced that NYC Ferry will begin serving Govs Island 7 days a week on the South Brooklyn route. So there are going to be some changes made to some of the NYC ferry routes. The date of that 7-day-a-week NYC ferry service is yet to be announced. It will be this calendar year, coinciding with the launch of Coney Island route. But that means there will be daily direct access from Red Hook, from Pier 6 in Brooklyn Bridge Park, Dumbo, Wall Street Pier 11, and then Corlears Hook in the Lower East Side. So this is really exciting, not only for visitors, but also I know many of you are familiar with the Harbor School. A lot of those students come from Community District 1, but also come from neighborhoods in Brooklyn. So we are super excited about this, really looking forward to working with you all in spreading the word, hopefully welcoming you in particular, and also, thinking about how we can program and add amenities and make winter on Govs Island really special. So we are going to be releasing a call for proposals for food and beverage and recreational amenities. So stay tuned for that. Would love to send a link to that to this group, and would love your support in just getting the word out. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Perfect. We'd be happy to share that. I'm personally looking forward to trying to be able to go sledding down the hill on Governors Island this winter.
Yes. The first time I saw the hill, I thought it would be perfect for sledding. So.
Exactly. All right. We've got a couple people who have hands up. Gerald Forsberg, you're first.
Yeah, hi Sarah. This is very, very exciting to have the island open. So I don't know if you were on earlier when Cora was speaking and heard my question, but I'll ask you directly. There's obviously you know where the community board stood on the rezoning with Governors Island, and the whole premise of the zoning, from what we understood, was to be able to afford having the island open, rather extended year round. So can you share with us where this funding came from all of a sudden, and does this does this mean that the continued development of the 25 stories is now off the table because it's no longer needed since the city found the money? What can you help us understand here? We have a lot of people in the community asking about this now.
Excellent.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. So that's a good question. This is the culmination of a long journey to expand access. I think this has always been core to our mission. When we first opened the island, we were open a few weekends a year, and we've slowly been increasing to being able to be open 6 months and now year round. Some of the reasoning has to do with some cost savings we've received. And, obviously there's a lot of work to do in terms of renovating the million square feet of historic buildings on the island, taking care of our long-term financial needs, both on the operating side and the capital side. But, we're able to reopen or to expand access to the park itself. But we don't have all of those buildings renovated, and we're operating at the same level of ferry service for the most part. The other piece to this is the rezoning of the island, and previously the rezoning of the North Island in 2013 are really essential for putting the island on a sustainable pathway to raising the revenue we need. So with the successful completion of that, we have a pathway, and it'll enable us to be able to better deliver on our mission and continue to increase the amenities and things to do on the island, increase investment in the open space, in the sports fields, and make the island a better place and more accessible for the city. So, we still have a long ways to go here in terms of making the island the best that it can be, and the rezoning was an important piece of putting us on that pathway.
And can you confirm, I mean, the number floating around is that the island's received, the trust has received 150 million. Is that to have this access now? Is that correct? Is that a correct number? Or?
So the $150 million investment that you're referring to is on the capital side, which is different from our operating budget and the way that funding is allocated. So the $150 million is something that was announced as part of the request for expressions of interest for the Climate Center proposal. So that funding is being made available to help support capital needs, not operating needs with the project.
So does that, you're talking about capital needs in terms of rehab of the historic buildings and things like that?
It's related to the Climate Center RFEI. For those of you that have seen the request for expressions of interest, we are prioritizing some of the historic buildings, and our hope is that proposals that come back will include adaptive reuse of those buildings. So yes, that funding could be applied towards the renovation of an existing building.
Okay, Gerald, I'm going to move to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bruce,
Thank you, Sarah.
Bruce Ehrman, you're next. Bruce, you're sounding a little bit like a chipmunk. Can you try your audio again? No, you are still chipmunk. I may rename you Alvin.
I like this, Bruce.
Try your audio again, Bruce. Okay, while you're working on your audio, do I see any other hands up?
How should I be taking those minutes down with Bruce's comments?
That is so not fair.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Bruce, do you want to text your comments in and we'll read them? You're muted.
While he's muted, my
Yep.
t-shirt speaks
While
for
he's
itself.
muted, Justine, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm saying my t-shirt speaks for itself, and I'm done. Thank you.
We're talking. Okay, that was for Sarah. Bruce, try again. Do me a favor, Bruce. Type fast and send. I don't want to laugh.
Bruce, you should sign out and sign back in again.
This better?
Sarah, do me a favor. Just
Okay.
hang. Oh, yay, Bruce, you're there. Good.
Thank
Yes.
you. So I just wanted to say that I've been a longtime member of the board of the LMCC, which has a significant presence on Governors Island. And it started out as the community liaison to that board, but I've been involved for, almost 20 years. And there just is, and I am one of the few who really likes the environmental center concept. I don't think it's a stalking horse. I think there's really a lot of goodwill in the idea, but I think there have been a lot of smoke and mirrors over the last few years, over the fate of Governors Island, over what will be built. It's just, there's no way that Governors Island will ever be a cash cow where you can squeeze the last nickel out of it. It's just not accessible in that sense. I just want to put it on record that even what I'm hearing tonight about the pot of capital money, how much was allocated to Governors Island? A lot, versus maintenance money. And then if I understood you correctly just now, there's a third pot. So it just doesn't, if you should pardon the expression, it no longer sounds kosher to me. I think there should be more transparency about what money is going where on Governors Island and for what purpose.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, we have shared pretty detailed financial information, and we're happy to come back to the community board and sort of present the status of all the ongoing projects and where things are with the climate center itself. I will say with the climate center, some of you will recall, especially those of you on the land use committee, we are planning to come back to the community board and share the finalist proposals. The request for expressions of interest has received a lot of enthusiasm, and we're confident that we're going to have a pretty robust response. There will be, of course, opportunity for the community board and the public at large to weigh in on those proposals. So look forward to keeping that conversation going.
Great, and I think the environmental center and concept is great. It's the rest of it that I don't understand. Okay, thank you.
Well, Sarah, thank you for your willingness to come back. We look forward to having you join us at a land use or executive meeting to go through all of that. That would be fantastic. Thank you again for coming. Thank you for the wonderful news. I think we all look forward to seeing programming, which would go to the Parks, Waterfront Parks and Cultural Committee. And, you know, sometime, someday with regular ferry service, having a meeting out there. So
Yes, we'd
thank
love
you
to
very
host you all.
much. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I think, let me just double check to see if any of the people, has Catherine O'Sullivan been able to join us? I don't see her. She was signed up to speak. Jenna? Was Jenna able to dial in? Is that our 917?
917 is Joel Capel, and I haven't seen any dial-ins besides those two.
Okay, so that brings us to, and Kelly Grace Price has not signed in either, right? So that brings us to our other featured speaker from the New York Independent, if she is here.
Hi.
Welcome.
So I'm not as used to WebEx, so I'm hoping everything's working, and I was very nervous about my voice sounding like a chipmunk, so I'm glad I sound okay.
Great.
I was like, oh no, I don't even know what to do. So I'm Asia Badi. I'm the Director of Public Engagement for the New York Independent Redistricting Commission. Everything I'm telling you is on our website, which you can see by the virtual background that I created. You know, if you haven't heard about the Independent Redistricting Commission, that's because this is the first time that we have come together. We are a result of a 2014 ballot amendment that seeks to create a fair and open process for line drawing for state Senate, state assembly, and congressional district lines. That's what the state's concerned about, and it's independent of the legislature for which we're drawing the lines. The commission is made up of 10 commissioners, 4 appointed by the Republican legislature and 4 by the Democratic legislature. The 4 Democrats appointed independent, and the 4 Republicans appointed independent. The 10 commissioners together have a deep breadth of knowledge of political science, election law, and other pieces of communities. Their bios are on our website, so you can see that. And they're tasked to do several things. One is to submit draft maps by September 15th to the legislature and the public. Those were released. They are on our website under the tab draft map plans. And then after that, we are tasked to hold 12 public hearings. The actual location of those hearings are written into the Constitution. They're mandated, so we will be holding them. New York is on November 10th. Bronx County is November 9th. We start actually October 20th in Buffalo. So we're starting upstate and moving down as it gets colder. And we're ending right before Thanksgiving. These public hearings are really to seek feedback on the draft plans and to hear from communities and communities of interest. So we are here, and then we have to submit final plans in early January to the legislature, which is why I'm here. I really want, you know, I know how important community boards are to understanding not just the board area, but the neighborhoods and communities and faith communities that live in your district. And we really ask you to get the word out about the draft plans and the ways to participate. There was a 1-pager that I did send to the community board. I appreciate if you guys could help disseminate that to all of your communities. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is that during the summer we held a listening tour because that was not mandated at all, but the commissioners felt we couldn't even start drawing the draft plans until we had heard from the community. We had a great response for the listening tour. They were done by region. The videos are up on our YouTube channel. You can see it. All the written submissions are available under submissions tab, so you can see who sent in what maps or what comments they sent in. You know, we had over 500 people sign up for the listening tour to speak. Nearly 300 spoke. Over 500 people submitted over 1,200 pages of maps and written comment. And, you know, we've had 5,000 people view. So we want to have the same sort of participation for the hearings. And then I wanted to mention that people ask who should participate. You know, you as a member of your community know your community best. You know the community of interest that is, you know, a population which shares social, economic, or policy interests that suggests that your community should be included in a single district for effective and fair representation. So, you know, take a look at the draft maps, see if your community is well represented in that, and if that needs to be changed, let the commissioners know they're really committed to the public process and really committed to hearing from the public. And I did tell you the dates of all the hearings are on our website. What you can do is you can sign up to our website, register an account. You'll get our emails. I only send them every couple weeks, so you won't get too many. And then you can sign up there. You can click the tab participate to submit maps, to submit written comment, or to sign up for a hearing. And we'd really appreciate if you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and just amplify as much as possible, because we don't have the funding nor the expanse of a federal census bureau behind us. It is just me and a couple of other folks that are trying to get the word out as much as possible. So I don't know if you wanted to take.
We have questions.
Yeah,
already.
I'm sure you do. Great, happy to.
All right.
It's
First, we'll go
Pat.
to Pat Moore, and then we'll go to Jeff Galloway after Pat, and then.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't a question. I just wanted you to know that your virtual background is flipped. So
Oh,
if you
it
find
looks okay to me. I'm so sorry. Okay, that's
So-
my WebEx,
Just so you
okay,
know for
I'm
the
sorry,
future.
but thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You can actually, if you go into your settings and you hit mirror, it'll flip it back around.
Okay, I'll do that.
Mr. Galloway, Jeff.
Sure. I went to the website while you were speaking, and maybe you answered this and I was busy looking at the website and didn't hear it. But when I look at the proposed district lines and so forth, there's something called a names plan and a letters plan. What are those?
So there were two draft plans that were submitted to the public to speak out. There is one set from the Republican commissioners and the other from the Democrats. They chose the titles to be by our line drawers, so to be as fair as possible. We didn't want to do an A/B plan or anything to sort of indicate it. And they're out there for the public to see and look at and see which ones they feel fit their communities as best possible. We're really looking forward to hearing comments on both plans or only one plan, whichever you feel is appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And if you go onto the draft plans, you see the interactive map. Just know that you can click on the top left legend to turn on, current district lines or
Yes, I saw
plans. Yeah, you can play with that. Sometimes people miss that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's see if I have any other hands up. I don't see either hands up in the public area or on the board. If anybody did not have an opportunity and would like to ask a question, couldn't remember how to put their hand up, now is your opportunity to unmute yourself. Okay, hearing none, I want to thank you so much for coming, and send us whatever you can and we will be happy to distribute it. Reminders of deadlines approaching and things like that would be great. We do a newsletter every weekend. We will be happy to include that as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
See ya. All right. Rocking along the way we like to go. So without any further ado, because I don't think our other speakers have logged on, we will be closing the public session, unless anybody argues that one, at 6:57 and start our business session. Keep in mind, if any of our elected officials, like if our borough president or assembly members are able to join us, they are part of the business session. All right. So we asked to adopt the July 2021 minutes. So I make a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And unless there are anyone who has any changes or abstentions, recusals, or negatives, we will adopt those minutes. Changes. Okay, moving along. We've already had our elected reps speak, so we can move straight to the district manager's report.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Tammy. I'm Lucian Reynolds. I'm the district manager of Manhattan Community Board 1. It's wonderful to see everyone here, especially after a very nice August recess. It was a very productive August. Tammy will give you, I'm sure, more updates on that. September was a interesting month on its own. Thanks for everyone for bearing with our accommodation of the high holy days. I hope everyone had a wonderful time with family and loved ones during those days. The month started with Hurricane Ida, and it ended with city budgets. As always, you know, it bears reminding everyone that we're always in close contact with the Office of Emergency Management, with the mayor's community affairs unit, and other direct contacts with city agencies. So when there is an event that we see coming, and we're in the process of preparation, you know, we are in effect an information hub, and we're passing information to the first responders, to the Office of Emergency Management, to the mayor's office, and we're trying to turn information from them around and send it back to the community. So if you see any conditions that need correcting, if there's blocked storm drains or anything major you see, let us know, and we'll certainly let all the relevant agencies and people know. That way, for things like major rain events or high wind conditions, we'll be prepared, even if it isn't a full deployment of our resiliency preparations. Moving on to the budget. This month saw the culmination of the Manhattan District Manager's borough budget consultation, organizing, and preparations. We had 3 full-day consultations with many different city agencies. If you are curious as to what their answers were or our questions that we posed to them, please let me know. I will share links to the notes from those consultations. We will talk a little bit about the city budget. Next month is the month where we need to have all of our budget requests complete, and I will begin the process of packaging those for the city to digest. We are running towards the fiscal year 23 budget preparations for the city council, and they'll, you know, the mayor will release his executive budget. Well, the next mayor, whoever that is, will release their executive budget, and they'll negotiate with the city council speaker, with lots of input from borough presidents and other citywide elected officials. So it's a very important part of what we do here at CB1. All CBs, it's one of the pillars of what we do, along with land use and providing a community forum. So I just urge everyone to be as plugged in with this process as possible. I'm going to put a link in the chat to our website that has lots of background information about the city budget process, as well as a way for the community and for community board members to submit ideas of things that should be in the operating budget or the capital budget. So everyone can contribute. And then next month, there will be a hearing for the city budget at full board. So with that, I'll give the mic over to Tammy. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you again soon.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions for Lucian before we rock along? Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Okay. Moving along, let's hit the chair report. Okay. So it has been very busy, as seemingly in Community Board 1. The top is the legal steps that are needed to enact the open restaurant program, which has taken up quite a lot of our conversations. We did a CPC testimony on 250 Water last month. We've been to the Battery Conservancy, had their annual meeting, as well as the Hudson River Park Advisory Council. There are meetings that are open to the public. If you would ever like to join, please just email the office. We'd be delighted to have you listen in as well. There is a reception at World Trade Center celebrating the eventual building of all buildings, which are now slated to be going up. And you see some pictures on the bottom. This year marks the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I think the most amazing accomplishment for our community, not only is the Memorial Glade where we are recognized, but we were able to host an event on site on 9/11 before the space was open to public to recognize the survivors and the community and those who have passed since who have been part of our community. This is hopefully the first of many years that we will be included on the day, as we always have been here. So we'll leave that. And I also want to do a shout out and a thanks to the Tunnel to Towers team, because on September 12th, they were also very gracious to include the names of those who have passed from the community of 9/11 related cancers and diseases. So if you have people that you would like to add who are from the community, please send them to us. We have a form that we're keeping that we will update them yearly with that. Downtown Alliance had their monthly board meeting, and the Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency presentation was done there. It was very interesting. And of course, we have the World Trade Center CAC. The one sad thing that I have to say is that CPC held a hearing for 240 Greenwich Street. Our FOIL requests that had been delayed many, many times were never fulfilled. And the community board comments, feedback, and testimony, as well as those of anything that was opposing the application, was not actually presented in the hearing. So basically, public space loss. Sorry to be a downer, but the reality is what that happened. We are looking to try and have a better conversation with the Department of City Planning going forward. But Alice, Allison Brown has left. And so the conversations are even more important now to get moving. Next slide. Looking ahead, through the end of this year, all meetings will be virtual, all committee meetings and all full board meetings. The office staff is back at work. If you would like to go to the office and speak to them for any known reason, we ask that you call and make an appointment. We're not actually taking surprise visitors. So please know that when you go to the building, if you joined us in person in August or July, you know you must be masked to go into the building. That is part of the DCAS policy. And we got a new board member this month. So Jess Coleman, let's welcome Jess. And Jess, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone.
And there you are. Welcome to Community Board 1.
So welcome.
There's nothing like being appointed and thrown into the fray. Jess, you get
right to the wolves.
Tell us something about yourself.
My name is Jess. I'm 27 years old. I grew up in Battery Park, lived in Gateway. I recently graduated law school, and I'm a practicing lawyer now, living in Tribeca, and really happy to be here. Excited to meet you all in person.
Perfect. So
which committees?
We don't know yet. He literally was appointed today. So we thought we'd have him jump directly into the fray, and he'll get his committee assignments by the end of the week and a mentor assigned, and we will move as quickly as possible to have Jess feel comfortable, welcome, and as ingrained as he can be within the next 72 hours. So Jess, thank you so much. Let's keep going. Our open restaurant tax amendment moves to CPC and the City Council for a vote, as well as administrative rule changes that are needed. That is a hot topic. It is a hot topic. We met with council member after our vote, after the borough board. We are not the only community board who voted from our committee our way. I'll just leave it at that till we have discussion during this session. Alrighty. 5 World Trade Center, I'm grateful they came yesterday. There are still questions that need to be asked, which we're working on. And redistricting, we heard about that. City Council has their hearing vote on 250 water. The Manhattan Borough President comment period about the Seaport Marketplace lease comes up this fall, and the Battery Park City. So every time I say the Battery Park City Authority and Resiliency, I always get the feeling that the board tends to tune me out thinking, well, that's just over there. So if you take a look at the lovely map in this slide, you will see that what we're talking about is all of the battery. This is a FIDI Battery Park City related thing. And there is an environmental impact scoping session that you'll see on the next slide. And we are still waiting to hear back from DOT on Brooklyn Bridge, 5 World Trade Center for answers to questions, and borough-based jails. I'm still waiting. That's all I'm going to say on that. Okay, so South Battery Park City Resiliency. As I mentioned, this is FIDI, the Battery, Pier A, Wagner Complete Redevelopment, and the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and the bottom of West Street. So the environmental impact statement to analyze the things is up. We have the scoping documents. We have everything. We're sharing everything. I cannot encourage you enough. This is the first major project in Community Board 1. It will help set precedent. It will be the first one to break ground in terms of its scope and scale. Please join October 13th. Submit whatever writing and thoughts and comments that you have. Next slide. And a happy early Halloween, because it's always been so serious. We've had such a hell of a year thus far. I figured I'd end my report with something fun. And on that, I close my chair report. Okay. Nominating committee.
Tammy,
Yes.
I think before you move into the nominating committee, we've been joined by Gail.
Oh, fantastic. I hope my costume didn't get her. All right, perfect. Manhattan Borough President Brewer, welcome to Community Board 1. We are delighted to have you tonight. Make sure Gail's unmuted.
Lucy, could you unmute Gail, please?
Never know with Gail. She could be in like 3 meetings at once.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Okay. Well, the good news is, while we're waiting for Gail, we'll do a quick
Gail,
nominating.
are you there?
Hi, Gail.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. A few things. Just first of all, congratulations on your many projects that you do so well. I want to thank you for the open restaurants. That was a borough board discussion that was extremely helpful, and it has been submitted, and I think that it'll be taken seriously. I know that a lot of contributions. Number two, this is very minor, but I know in the past we've had fresh food for seniors all through Manhattan. But for some reason, I don't know the answers. There weren't enough groups that signed up in Lower Manhattan. So it's definitely taking place in Upper Manhattan, the West Side, Chelsea, Clinton, but not Lower Manhattan. So we have to fix that for the future. But I just want to let you know it's not for lack of trying, because I've gotten a lot of calls about it. On the congestion pricing, which you know as well as I testified at the what we would call Lower Manhattan. There was also an Upper Manhattan hearing coming up next week. And I have 2 or 3 comments. Number one, of course, is somebody from Manhattan must be on the board that's making the decisions. Number 2, I hope the taxis, but especially yellow and green, are not charged. And number 3, I'm starting to get calls. You can imagine the people who don't want to be included. That's a different story. But I even got one today from God's Love We Deliver, which has 26 or 36 trucks. And they are in the Lower Manhattan area. They go back and forth. They go citywide. So all of these issues have to be considered, as well as funding the MTA. Obviously supportive of congestion pricing, but those are some of the issues. With the schools reopening, many of you are parents. My kids are older, but oh my goodness, we've been dealing obviously with COVID. We've been dealing with school security not in place. We've been dealing with lack of nurses. And I assume the social workers have been assigned, but I will tell you from conversations today with social workers, the hospitals need them too. You get paid better in the hospital. So many of them, particularly the bilingual, are going to the hospitals. So I don't know whether all social work slots are going to be filled. Nobody said anything about that before we started this process. We're all trying to get more organics to be part of the pickup. Apparently Manhattan is not signed up much. I think you know that. So we're trying to get more people signed up for that. I also want to mention that we have open house coming up October 16th. It's an annual program. It's in place this year, at least in our office. So we're going to have all of the street maps that we've had in the past. It's called the Commissioner Plan. I think you know about it. It's the 1811 Commissioner Plan. And we have a special opportunity you can see on our website for people to get a printout of your location, what it was like in 1811. We're still trying to figure out about storefronts. To the credit of the city council, there was a hearing just recently on the issue of what to do about the rent. This is obviously a 40-year or 30-year discussion. But we have a bill, it's called the Storefront Bill of Rights, which we introduced with Helen Rosenthal. And it's an attempt to say if you're going to have a lease owner and commercial tenant, you have got to give the commercial tenant the facts. What is the history of the space, the rental history, the building department history, the language has to be in something that people can understand. And this, you know, if in fact you find a new tenant after 5, 10, whatever the lease's length is, then you need to at least let the person know it has to be a real tenant. Otherwise, there's an extension of the lease. That's the short version. I know there are other bills that are pending, but I think this one would pass muster. We certainly need to do something because I know exactly what's going to happen. People will come back, hopefully fill up the vacancies. Although in the interim, I'd love to see more art in the vacancies. And then we'll be in the same problem that we were in before. I do want you to know that in Midtown, I was able to get one of the new commercial buildings in our ULURP, and I believe it'll be continued into the council. They have either 500 or 1,000 square feet of free space for artists, either performing or visual or in doing their craft. So it's something to think about for the future. You worked hard on the open meetings law. I know it's going to hopefully continue until January 15th in terms of virtual, because we've all concerned about COVID, but I don't know what's going to happen after that. We need to consider that. We also should know that every community board from the borough president's office is getting one of those OWL devices, OWL, so that when you go hybrid, if we do, who knows what's going to happen, you have the best technology. You guys have already had the best technology. I know that. So those are some of the issues. We have an art exhibit that we're opening in our office at Center Street on Monday night with people who have painted during the pandemic. It's very moving. You're certainly welcome to join us. And I know that we're working on lots of ULURP issues, Seaport being one of them, obviously the resiliency issue and many more. And thank you for all your amazing input on those really challenging issues. Thank you very much.
Gail, do you mind taking a couple of questions?
Sure, of course, absolutely.
And just so you know, we also had that same conversation with ESD yesterday when they presented about 5 World Trade Center that we would like some free space for artists, which fits within the World Trade Center campus, you know, what they've done in the past. I don't see that that should be, you know, very difficult.
And I think we have some hope. I've been talking to the Port Authority also on more affordable housing, which we all want at that space. So we're not giving up.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to open it up. I have questions, but I know our team does too. Mariama, you're going to go first.
Hi, Gail. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you.
Will we get reimbursement for the owls that we paid for out of our budget?
A good question. I don't know. I can find out. I know that we bought them for every community board. You're always ahead of everything.
Yeah, that's good. Can't complain. All right. Thank you.
All right. I'll check.
Spoken like a true treasurer, and thank you for minding our minding our budget. I would love to be reimbursed for that. You know, you can look at it as we did a test run for you to know that they worked. And I know I got a texted from somebody who can't unmute, who was asking about the concept. Have conversations been had about lowering taxes for small businesses when you're looking at all the businesses returning and finding a way to incentivize small business through tax credit?
Yeah, that issue has come up a lot. It has to go to Albany. So it's something to consider, but no taxes can be reduced for like mom and pops or owner operated unless it goes to Albany. So it's on the burner. I can't say that it's top of the burner. We're trying to get something now, but it could be considered, yes.
Perfect, thank you. And then Rose, we're going to go Rosa Chang, and Rosa's going to speak about something near and dear that we're working on that we hope you can join us with. and then Andrew Zelter. Rosa, you're first.
Thank you so much. Hi, Gail. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I want to thank you for letting me join the community board because it has been the ride of my life that I was not expecting when I joined in the midst of coronavirus, and I am learning a lot. So thank you. It's totally opening up my eyes to like a whole new world. And one of the ways it's opening my eyes to a whole new world is that in our community, we have very, very little outdoor space, outdoor recreation space. Yep. And we've discovered that there's 9 acres of land derelict sitting beneath the Brooklyn Bridge. And we would love to go on a walk with you and show you what we are envisioning there as part of a community hub that will help with economic and social revitalization for our communities. And I don't know, we just love to introduce the project to you because
I would love it. Rose, I'll go whenever you want. I would love it. And I can give you some examples of what has gone elsewhere. That would be fabulous. Thank you. Yes.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Gail, we will reach you this week because we are really, really looking to light a flame and fire under all the agencies. It's such an amazing public benefit that is completely achievable.
I would love it. Rosa should know the one thing that I've done, Rosa, is you will have a beach. I have a beach that we are allocating funding to because EDC had said no beach, you can't go near the water. You have to have a boardwalk. I said hell no, and Margaret Chin and I put the money in. So they are building you a beach. Just so you know, you have a tiny little beach just north of the South Street, just South Street Seaport. So you'll have that park, but we do need to get the Brooklyn Bridge too.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, Gail. I'm so looking forward to it.
And I think, Gail, you'll be stunned because the conversations we're going to have fit into Brooklyn Beach in a way to enhance the environment and have it fit seamlessly. So perfect. Andrew Salter, Vicki Cameron. Andrew, you're next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Tammy. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Great. Good evening, Gail, and thanks as always for your time and commitment to all of the boards. Quick question as it relates to COVID and the schools, and I'm curious if you've had conversations or have a view if hopefully in the unlikely event we see a spike in COVID that triggers wholesale closure of schools. Does the Board of Ed have a plan for remote or hybrid learning that is more robust than what we experienced the first time we went through that wholesale closing?
It's a very good question. I can tell you the school just closed in East Harlem and I was all over them. It's a school, children for special needs. I've met with the principal before and afterwards. It was closed for 10 days. And to her credit, she had, I use the word stockpiled. So she only ended up with 14 kids who didn't have devices, and to the credit of DOE, they came through. I would say that I have been all over, one of the few electeds to say, you don't have plan B, Mr. Mayor, what is it? So I have to say it's school by school. I can't say that there is a plan B, and I've been talking about it since August 4th. I wrote the first letter. So I think that what you need to do right now, as far as I know, the school in East Harlem is the only one that has closed in the borough because of COVID. Everybody else is a classroom, but not a school. But even a classroom, do we have the devices? Do we have the plan? So I can say I've been like a broken record on the topic, but I have a feeling that it'll be robust in the sense that most principals have the devices, and it seems to me that DOE has more, but that doesn't take care of everybody having an internet connection or the teachers being trained or enough teachers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the best answer I can give you, but we have been on it nonstop.
Well, thank you for that. And as always, again, thanks for your efforts on these important matters.
Thank you, Andrew, very much. Who is after Andrew? Vicki Cameron?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Gail. I wanted to ask, I had requested if the Brooklyn Bridge contractor would permit a group of community board members to visit the construction site and just kind of take a look and see the bridge now in different ways than it would be when it's not under construction. Anyway, I was denied that visit by the DOT on behalf of all of us. So I was just wondering if there was anything that we can do to get this granted. I had suggested, being an architect and working with this contractor on the Coney Island NYCHA housing, if we, visited the site, let's say on a Friday afternoon when things are slowing down, would that be possible? And DOT said no. Any chance you have some ideas on how this might happen?
Yes, Vicky, we can be in touch. We can certainly try. And that's a kind of ridiculous answer. You're a community board member. You're a professional. You know the contractor. So let me see what we can do. I will follow up with Lucian.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Please lower your hand. Andrew, please lower your mark. I think we have everybody who had a question for you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so we continue on with our business session of the nominating committee. Mimi Flynn was the only candidate who was nominated for assistant secretary. So then I have the ability to just ask the board secretary to cast one vote in favor of the candidate. Colin?
I cast my one all-powerful vote for Mimi Flynn as assistant secretary.
Mimi, congratulations and welcome to the elected leadership. You are now assistant secretary for the board.
Thank you. I think.
Can I keep this power for the rest of the night?
Oh, absolutely, sure. No problem.
Yeah, I'm going to send you the links to all the minutes and vote sheets now.
I already did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have them, but I'm so glad I don't have to do that tonight. But I'll watch it.
Exactly. Jump in and watch. The water's fine, and then you can kick Colin and keep him in line. No problem. All right. All right, let's go for executive committee. So since this is, we did resolutions, I'm hoping everybody's had a chance to read them. If you didn't tune in last night, I think that we can take all of them together unless anybody hears any other reason. And this will be a roll call vote for attendance. Okay? Do I hear any objections to doing this as a one call for all? All right. So with all of these, which includes 1 Fulton Street, 88 West Broadway, 114 Franklin, 135 Reed, 5 Beekman, 100 Church, 133 Greenwich, 184 Duane, and 399 Greenwich Street. Hearing no opposition to taking them together, I'm calling the question. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah, second, if I can only unmute fast enough. Yes.
Okay, Lucian, Lucy, Diana, whoever is roll calling.
I'm going to read the roll. I'll remind all members, please say your name and your vote, and I'll proceed through the list. Amoruso. Blank. Brown Kennedy.
Brown Kennedy votes yes.
Cameron.
Vicky.
I'll come back. Cassell.
Cassell, yes.
Thank you. Kali.
Holly, yes.
Thank you. Chang.
Chang votes yes.
Yes, thank you. Chapman.
Chapman votes yes.
Thank you. Charkoudian.
Charkoudian votes yes.
Cole. Coleman.
Coleman votes yes.
Thank you. Welcome. Corman.
Corman votes yes.
I know you're having trouble with the mic, Justine.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Yes, I didn't hear my name, but yes,
okay.
I vote yes.
Thank you. Curtis.
Curtis votes yes.
Thank you. Ehrman.
Ehrman votes yes.
Thank you. Flores.
Flores votes yes.
Thank you. Flynn.
Flynn votes yes.
Thank you. Forsberg.
Forsberg votes yes.
Thank you. Francoeur. Francoeur. Friedman. Friedman. I'll
He's
come
here.
back. I'll come back to Friedman. Froman. Galloway.
Galloway, yes.
Goldstein.
Goldstein, yes.
Thank you. Grant.
Grant, yes.
Thank you. Gupta.
Gupta, yes.
Thank you. James.
James votes yes.
Thank you. Joyce. Joyce.
Keep going.
Hey.
Hey, yes.
Thank you. Canel.
Canel votes yes.
Thank you. Kettering.
Kettering, yes.
Thank you. Make sure that Joel's unmuted and I'll have to do that. Oh,
And make sure you move Jason Friedman up as well. He's
there's
on.
Jason. I see you. And Joel, let's see.
Jason Friedman is a yes.
Thank you, Jason. Make sure I get the right call-in user here for Joel.
He's 682.
682. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Joel. I'm going to leave you unmuted.
Hi. Yeah, Copel, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Lamory.
Lamory, yes.
Thank you. Lerner.
Yes.
Thank you. Lewinson.
Lewinson, yes.
Thank you. Mahoney.
Mahoney votes yes.
Thank you. McHugh. McHugh. Meltzer.
Meltzer votes yes.
Thank you. Myhawk. Myhawk.
Absent.
Okay. Moore.
Moore, yes.
Thank you. Schneck.
Schneck votes yes.
Thank you. Star.
Star votes yes.
Thank you. Sung.
Sung, yes.
Thank you. Sorry. Sung Jimmy.
Jimmy Sung, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna do better on that one. Townley. Townley. Weinstock.
Weinstock, yes.
Thank you. Z.
Z, yes.
Thank you. You.
Eric Yu, yes.
Thank you. Zelter.
Zelter, yes.
Okay, going back to the top really quick. Cameron.
Yes, Cameron votes yes. I apologize.
Wonderful. And I have you, Jason. Is there anyone I've missed? Okay, with that, the motion carries. 34, 35.
Awesome. Thank you. So one of the things I do want to mention, we have two other things in my executive committee report. 5 World Trade Center came and did a presentation yesterday. I encourage everybody on this board who could not attend last night to listen to the presentation and review the slides because it is detailed. There's a lot for discussion. There are a lot of questions that are still outstanding that we need. So it is important. This is our last large scale development site, and we are pushing as hard as we can to have as much input as we can to make sure that what they promised us when they envisioned World Trade Center as a way to connect north, south, east, and west, and a way to finish and unite the neighborhoods is a possibility. Currently, as envisioned, not happening. So I encourage you all, I'm not going to do slides on it. I really want you to take a look in detail. Virtual versus hybrid meetings. As a group, as an executive committee, we all discussed it last night. We are in all agreement. We do not need to vote on it. We will be in accordance with the work that the legislature has done, all virtual through the end of the year for all meetings, hands down. But that also means that you got to come to the meetings. So the reason why all of the licensing things that are here is because they ran out of quorum. We are now virtual. We understand that people, real life, personal life, paid jobs, we get all of that, but we are virtual. The commute is super short. Walk around your house if you need to with the phone. Please, if we need quorum, do not leave your committee meeting if you know we need quorum, because it just makes it longer for everybody else later. I ask that as a please, check with the person from the office who's running the meeting and the committee chair before you decide to jump. And then for the budget, the more work you do in committee, the less work we will have in the executive committee and the full board next month. So if everyone does their committee work on capital expense items for 2023, then the executive committee will just go fast. And that is what I've been told is the goal for everyone, is that we manage to be more efficient with our time. So with that, I close the executive committee, and let's move on to large venue working group and Mariama James.
Tammy, one quick thing. Megan McHugh was stuck in the attendee section. She was present. Megan, can you just announce what your vote was for the opening roll call?
Voted yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. Sorry about that. And that actually kind of reminds me, because many of us have been logging in by phone. That's totally fine. Try and make sure you put your last name, or if you don't see the two lines, make your first name Megan M or Laura S, so we know exactly who you are and we can find you and move you. So thank you so much.
Hi, my report will be quick. We had a convening of the large venue working group before the licensing and permits committee meeting this month. And we began to talk about things that guidelines we'd like to put in place with regard to security and lighting and sanitation, but ultimately did not finish going through our list and decided to make this just a report rather than trying to pass any resolutions. We'll sort of table those and reconvene again next month, where we hope to actually put forth a resolution in the licensing committee after the large venue working group meets. And that's it.
Thank you, our large venue working group chair and treasurer. Moving on to licensing is Mark Amoruso on. If not, I'm going to ask Frances if she does not mind rolling through licensing.
Okay.
I know, Frances, you hadn't planned on it. If you want, Jen can support you. And somebody please move Trisha over. She's stuck in the attendee section.
Okay, I don't know how to do this because I was only there for
I'll have Jen do it.
Go, well, can we take all these together? I guess is that what I'm supposed to?
We can, if that works.
It's only reports.
Perfect. So then we don't have to worry, because that's right, they ran out of quorum. So if you want to report on anything for those, you certainly may. And if you don't, I can say 77 Warren and 456 Greenwich definitely should be reported on.
Yeah, that's 77 Warren is a problem. We had a couple of people come from the community to speak against their being granted a liquor license because the owners before had a terrible reputation, and that's why and together with the pandemic and COVID, they closed, but they were not well liked in the community prior to that because they had their windows open and had a lot of loud music and people overflowing in the street. And so the community remembered that and was not in favor of granting them that space another opportunity for a liquor license to reopen. The other one is I can't remember exactly where it's located, unless that's the hotel. Is this the hotel, Pat? That's near you?
Yes, it's
Jim, was this the hotel that had the balcony that's open and we gave them until 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Yeah, they want because they have travelers that come in all hours of the day, and they wanted to be able to have a 24-hour eating and drinking facility. And so we
Different item,
What?
Francis, but if you like, I can go ahead and just give a
Oh,
brief recap for this item, if that's okay.
for that one, okay, yeah, fine. Go.
Sure. So just to give a brief recap for everyone. So earlier this year in February 2021, the Licensing and Permits Committee reviewed the following liquor license application, which is what you see before you on the screen there. So as an update, there's a new representative that's taken over this application. Their name is Matt Vigiano of Castor LLC. So as the applicant's preparing to come back to the board this coming November, Matt Vigiano has informed the board that as part of their application review process, one of the primary components is that they like to reach out to the community and just gather more outreach with the residents there. So one of the ways in doing so is that he had an idea to create or establish a working group. And so as of lately, the board has been working with Matt in sort of gathering a group of volunteers, pretty much residents or just neighbors from the community that will reside by the hotel, as well as members from the licensing committee. So this working group, the goal of this working group will be that they will determine a baseline of stipulations and requests in advance of the applicant's formal and official reappearance in November. The goal is that they'll come back in November, but if it happens to be that the working group feels that they should be, their application should be pushed back, then they'll come in December. But the goal is that they'll come back in November for the second appearance. And this working group will work under the purview of the licensing committee and establish parameters concerning, but not limited to, the use of street or sidewalk cafe, outdoor space via the city's open restaurants program, late night drinking on rooftops, late operating hours, potential noise disturbances. And so as of this week, the office has been working with Matt and offering potential meeting dates for this working group to coordinate sort of an in-person property tour and outdoor gathering at that location. So actually what's going to happen is that tomorrow there'll be an outdoor gathering / in-property tour. So we've been gathering a head count of who will be attending tomorrow's tour. It'll be from 5 to 7 p.m. And so far we do have a list of attendees, which is awesome. So that's sort of what's been going on as far as outreach to the community for this application. And the next big step is that we expect them to come back to us in November for an official second round of committee review.
Perfect. Thank you, Jen. So if you are interested in being a part of the 456 Greenwich Street working group, whether you're a member of the public or a board member, please email the board and you are welcome to join that walkthrough as well. Does anybody have any questions? And Francis, I'm sorry I threw you under the bus so fast. I totally appreciate you jumping in to try and help. That was like above and beyond. Thank you. Bruce, you've got a hand up. Is it up for this?
It's up for this committee, not for this particular application. It's up for another matter. All I want to say is that, first of all, you should know that about what I'm going to say, I have zero financial or even personal interest in these establishments, but for all the establishments that exist on this list, they are really struggling in Tribeca. Twiggy to Go is a wonderful place, and without Clementine, there is no other place like it, and they're struggling, and they're a great place. Same with, for that matter, same with King's Pharmacy. I just hope that this board takes into consideration actual brick and mortar businesses in our community and uses them. It's a real problem. As you know, there are a lot of empty storefronts. And if you don't want any more, then get offline and go into these establishments and buy there. Thanks.
I don't disagree.
Well, Bruce, I've been sitting on the committee for a while, and Bruce, Susan makes very sure that we do take that, the committee takes that into consideration, and we are very sensitive to that.
Oh, yeah, this
So
isn't
I
about
think
the
it has
committee.
been.
Yeah, right. No, I appreciate
No,
that.
just to support what you're saying, that
Oh,
the
yeah.
committee definitely uses that as part of the criteria, taking into consideration all of those factors, and it has been that way for a while, especially after that discussion yesterday about the bathroom situation in one of the establishments. But
All righty. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Francis. I think with no other hands up, we can move to the next committee.
Okay, I guess that's waterfront. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Paul. Welcome and thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start the top item, City Hall Park. We had a couple of conditions at City Hall Park that we wanted to address. One was graffiti. We do get good support from staff from the Parks Department. So I want to acknowledge them. They are responsive when our committee and the community board raises issues. And then there was a second issue. They took care of the graffiti. The second issue had to do with these gas lights that are in City Hall Park that have been there for years. The problem is that they frequently do not work. They're not well maintained. The city doesn't have the budget or the personnel to maintain them. And then when they are managed to be turned on, there's nobody that turns them off at night. So they just burn continuously. So you have a resolution before you that was adopted by the committee that is recommending, and I want to thank Lucian and others who came up with some of these ideas, that is to replace the gas lights with historic lighting that are distinctive and that are LED lights. So they're more energy efficient. They will look, we believe, genuinely historic. And I would also note that the Friends of City Hall Park organization also supported this motion. So that's before the committee. So we could take a vote on that first before I move on to my other items.
Let's call the question. I second it. If that was your call to question, I second it. The nice thing about this, because we've already done roll call, let's do an affirmation vote. All right, Paul. So if I don't hear from you, then I'm going to assume you're a yes.
I have my hand up to speak.
Oh, I apologize, Joe. I did not see that.
Okay?
You did. My bad. Thank you.
No problem. So how much is this going to cost to replace these things? Labor and the lights themselves? About?
No idea.
$100,000?
I don't think we know offhand, but that's something that the park the city can initially pay for, considering they paid to make them gas, and the cost not only for the gas but the manual labor associated with it far outweighs, according to the reports by the Friends of.
Well, right. The city can pay for anything if it wants to. That's not the issue. And also, how much do we save by taking out these beautiful gas structures that remind me of old New York? How much are we saving in the not using the gas and using LEDs?
Again, Joe, we don't really have, I mean, when community boards make all their budget recommendations, we are not supposed to or asked to do budgetary analysis of these items. Maybe that should be a consideration, but that's not the case. So we just make recommendations. Again, in this case, we have lights that are not functioning properly, that are not maintained properly. We're not looking to diminish the historic look of those fixtures and the poles and the lights. And I have gone online and I have seen some of these LED historic lights, and to my eye, they look rather genuine still. Again, I'm no super expert on it.
Is that your answer to my question, or is that your? It was not necessary to go through it, Paul. We went through it before.
I'm sorry. I thought you were looking for an answer. Okay.
I was at the committee meeting, if you remember.
No, I do.
Are there, I see Vicki Cameron's hand up. So again, let's go through questions and then we will call the question. And the only reason why I'm going through hands now is because I inadvertently did not see Joe when I called the question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Vicki, you're up.
I just wanted to add a small comment that I learned through my projects. LED lighting is something that we speak about, but the actual return on LED lighting in terms of cost savings, in addition to the actual installation of the fixture, takes, somewhere between 20 or 30 years. We discussed this with like the tunnel between, I can't remember, New York and Brooklyn or Jersey or something. And I will say that, I'm all in favor for gas lighting and staying with that look. And I just want to point out that LEDs are, in our industry, in reality, an unknown entity. We don't know the lifespan or the replacement, but the actual installation and the time that he gets to get a cost saving by installing this thing takes about 20 to 30 years. I just wanted our board to know that. I learned that, and it costs money, so I'm just sharing it.
Vicki, are you comparing that to regular bulbs or gas?
Yes, yeah, well, to whatever we have. LEDs are a product that we advocate for, but when you calculate the numbers, the longevity before you get a cost savings is 2 or 3 decades. And again, LEDs are a new product and there is very little known about it. We advocate for them now, but we will see in several decades how well they play out. That's what the consultants told me. And like I say, we spent a lot of money on our project. So I'm just sharing that. I advocate for gas lighting and what we have.
I respectfully understand where you're going, but when you're talking about the tunnel was not lit with gas lamps.
No, we're talking about LEDs.
LEDs, right, but you're talking LEDs versus light bulbs, regular light bulbs. You're not talking LED versus gas lamp. That's the.
I'm saying we should stick with LED with gas lamps because LEDs are not necessarily an ideal replacement.
Justine, Bruce, Mariama, Andrew.
Quick comment or question actually is, what is the benefit? I'm assuming there's a benefit to the environment for switching to LED. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. That to me is worth the cost of the LED lighting. Although I do understand your point, Tammy.
Okay, thank you very much. Next person. Bruce, Mariama.
Hi. So it's odd that in my inaugural vote on this committee, I have to go against the tide. I have to agree with Joe. I hear what this discussion. I just feel that I know that the city has replaced street lights on my block with LED lights that are so offensive. They're so garish and ghoulish. And in Giuliani's, speaking of ghoulish, attempt to recreate the early 19th century when he redid City Hall Park about 20 some odd years ago, the one redeeming part of that design for me was the gas lights. and the environmental difference with a few gas lights, it's negligible. I mean, I can't speak to repair and maintenance, but I can speak to LED lights, which are everything that has been said, and with the few gas lights that are there being charming. So I'm going to have to vote against this resolution. That's all.
No problem.
Thank you.
And you did note that is certainly you're right. You did see the note that's in the therefore be it resolved that they're not talking about changing the fixture and the poles, that they should remain historic. It's just the difference of the illumination portion, unlike what you're referring to on your street, which they pulled out all of the historic.
Right, but it's not the poles that I'm talking. Even the poles are part of his crazy conception of an early 19th century park when it could have been contemporary. It's the gas lights, the gas lighting part of it, the globes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mariama, Andrew, Gerald. Oh my gosh, and then Colin.
I was actually going to ask if I could make a friendly amendment, but it doesn't seem like people would want it. I may be biased because having worked for a lighting manufacturer for 22 years, but you know, LEDs, they don't contain toxic materials. They, you know, give you like a really clean, crisp, natural feeling white light. They tend to come with dimmers. So as opposed to, you know, you don't necessarily have to turn them all the way off. You could dim them, you could put them higher. And, you know, the energy is cleaner. And I don't know, but.
Point added. It's no problem. I hear what you're saying. All right, Andrew, Gerald, Colin, and Mimi.
I just wanted to supplement something Paul had said. Part of what we had heard was that the gas lights were unreliable and they at times, many times, would often blow out if there were any kind of breeze or wind. So the two issues that were raised around that was one, security. If the lights aren't on, it creates a security issue at night. But somewhat more problematic, at least from my perspective, was that people were reporting issues with traces of gas, smelling gas in the air, which would suggest even though they blew out, there was still gas being forced through the fixture.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Gerald? Colin? Mimi?
Thanks, Tammy. So I was surprised to hear in the whereas that the lighting has actually you know has been lit, because anytime that I've ever been through the park, I've never seen the lights on, and so I think that this was one of the budget items that I had brought up during the committee meeting, and my thinking with this entire thing was that, you know, it's the difference between having no lights, or you know, hopefully something that could be effective. If I'm looking at the Jacob Ray mold fountain in particular, and it looks like we're talking about 4 gas lights, each with approximately 5 globe fixtures on it. And so 5, 10, 15, 20 lights that we're talking about, 4 poles. We're not talking about replacing, as has been mentioned, the actual fixtures themselves. And I guess I just wanted to find out, well, one other thought that I had is you know, it wasn't unheard of back in when electricity came through for a lot of even residential properties to change out gas fixtures and go with the latest fashion. So I'm very much in support of this. I think the LEDs, there's soft LEDs, there's warm LEDs. We have very professional people in City Hall, and architects and planners and all the rest of it who can figure out the light candles and all the rest. But I would really like to see the lights on the fountain back up and running.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Colin,
you.
Mimi, and then we're gonna close comments.
I swear to God, I was trying to bite my tongue, but I just can't, because some of the information that's been given here is just wrong. I just want to quote directly from the United Nations IPCC. 40% of public lighting, public lighting can account for 40% of a municipality's electricity bill. Lighting accounts for nearly 5% of global CO2 emissions. LED lighting achieves energy savings immediately in the first year of implementation of 50 to 70% compared to old technologies. That's comparing it to incandescent lighting, never mind gas lighting, which is considerably more expensive. This is a real climate issue, and I can't believe people are saying that there's not a return for 30 years. It's just not, that's just not true.
It's not people, Colin. It's architects.
It's completely not true. You're putting false information out there.
Oh my
We're
God,
not-
are you serious?
I put the information right in the chat. You can go take a look at it.
I'm an expert. I am.
I am an expert. I've been dealing on climate issues for 15 years.
No, I'm
Vicky.
sorry.
You're going to get muted, Vicky. There's no cross argument.
I worked in air pollution for over 20 years, and at one time I was an expert for the entire New York City area.
Well, I put the comments right into the comment area. You can go look at it for yourself. I believe IPC UN scientists over either of you. I apologize for that. That's it for me.
No, that's it. No decorum, folks. We're not fighting. You vote the way you want to vote. Mimi, you are the last comment on this. Take us home.
Hey, I would like to admit to all of you that I enjoy the delightful hobby of creating LED flashlights. And there are, I'm not even kidding. I know it's crazy. But there are a lot of different like color temperatures that you can have for LED lighting. I prefer the 2700K temperature. I do have flashlights that I could show you, but I don't think that's necessary. But we could have a specific color of LED lighting that would mimic gas lights. But yeah, I'm just a hobbyist, so I'm not trying to gaslight you about any of the LED lighting.
Oh. Very good.
Mimi has closed comments on this. You are, again, we vote as you vote. Not everybody's going to agree. Not everyone has to agree. But I am happy to do a roll call if you feel we need it.
Well, Tammy, can I ask the chair if we can add something to that last whereas about, you know, them being cleaner, as the energy being cleaner, non-toxic, and maybe even what Colin said, adding the returns, immediate returns.
Paul, how do you feel about that?
I would say in the whereas, one of the whereases you could put
That last one where you say the gas lights are unable to be switched off and you explain the benefits of them. Can we add to those benefits there?
Yes.
Okay, Diana, you have that?
Paul,
All right, we'll work through it. Thank you, Mariam.
So
Thank you, Paul.
That is accepted. And with that, we're going to try not roll calling. Let's see how this works. So knowing that your vote would be a yes if I do not hear from you. If you disagree with that, then for example, if you are voting no, you must say your last name and your vote. So are there any no's?
Galloway, no.
One at a time.
Flores, no.
Flores.
Galloway, no.
No.
Lerner, no.
Cameron, no.
Okay.
Did you get my vote?
I got Lerner no and Cameron no. That's 4 thus far. Yes. Anyone else? Are there any abstentions? Are there any recusals? Motion passes. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, so
Tammy, I'm sorry to interrupt you because Tricia wasn't here in the previous roll calls. We need her to speak and give us her exact call.
Hi, Tricia. Welcome.
Hi.
Can you give
You need me just to say yes?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lucy, for keeping us on board. Paul, keep.
all right, let's keep it going. Item 2, Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan. Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan is an organization formed by board member Rosa Chang, and that's in the interest of pursuing the reopening of recreation space in and around and adjacent to the Brooklyn Bridge. As many of you recall, back in November, our committee passed a resolution favoring reopening some of those spaces which historically have been open recreation spaces on the east side of our district, which is very short of recreation space. So Rosa has really taken this on, and she's done a magnificent job pulling together a coalition of interested parties. Are you able to still hear me? I don't know.
You're good, Paul.
Okay, so she gave an excellent presentation of all the work that she's been doing, of all the supporters that she's lined up. You know, many of the incoming elected officials, from the new borough president, the new council members, seem very enthused by this plan. And it would not only add recreation space, but it would also, you know, help the divide between boards 1 and 3 on the east side, because I know they also are supportive of that, as is the principal of Murray Bertram. So the only thing I would also add is maybe, Rosa, you might want to put your plan in the chat so people can see it, because I don't have the slides here tonight.
The slides are available, Paul, on the CB1 website. We encourage everyone, because they were shown at the meeting, to watch it. It's a great presentation.
Yes, and again, thanks. Keep up the good work, Rosa. The only other thing I'd add on this topic is that we are expecting feedback from DOT shortly, after we did have a walking tour with them at the end of April. So we're waiting for their feedback and their reaction, and they apparently are ready to take some steps, but we don't know what they are. So more to come on this. Okay, next, Canal Park. We had some issues up there, especially with a homeless individual or two who were, according to some of the complaints we got, taking over the park and even preventing other people from coming into the park, bringing in too many possessions, and making the park inaccessible. So anyway, we again worked through the NYPD and Jamal, our rep from Parks, and they are reporting that they think they have the situation under control and largely addressed. So let's hope that is the case. And I haven't heard any recent additional complaints on that one. And finally, Peck Slip Park is a new park, as you know, on the east side near the in the Seaport area. And we were having an issue there with tremendously overgrown weeds, blocking out some of the nice new plants that they put in. And again, Parks Department was responsive. They brought in crews to take care of that situation, and it's tremendously better. I just hope they can maintain it. So with that, I think that concludes my report.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's move along. Transportation, Betty Kay has 2 reports in front of us.
Yes, you want to go to the next one? We had a fairly full agenda, but if you go to the next one, I'll move right to the heart of it all. The DOT sent representatives to talk about the Center Street and Lafayette Street, north of Worth Street up to Canal Street, the bike lane upgrades that are being done. Go to the next, and we knew this because this was the northern extension for making connections to the Brooklyn Bridge bicycle lanes, which opened on the exact day of the meeting officially, which was the 15th of this month. So it was a very festive meeting. Everyone was so happy. And for those of you who have gone to community meetings live, you can see this, what it currently looks like in front of the municipal building. The bike lanes coming from the bridge and going to the bridge are running down the middle of Center Street. at the Chambers Street intersection was one of the biggest junctions there. That's still in the process of being completed. But as you can see from the signaling here, there will be a left-hand turn signal. Will be one phase of the lighting. The bikes will be another phase with the through cars. The pedestrians will have a separate phase, and there will be the barn stance, which means you can either go north-south, you can go east-west, or you can go diagonally across that intersection when the pedestrian portion of the cycle occurs. That's not in yet, and there's also going to be an accessible pedestrian signal for those who are low vision. That'll be exciting because it'll be one of the first in our district. You go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, the next slide. Go back one. Could you go back one? The one after that one. No, you're going in the wrong direction.
Okay, so not backwards. You want to go forwards, right?
I want to go forward. Yes, I'm moving along. Yes, sorry, go to the lanes themselves. Stop.
Hey, stop.
So as you can see, what we're talking about with the Center Street and Lafayette, because each is a one-way street. And yes, it does, for those who are interested, leave our district and go into CB3. This meeting specifically spoke about what's occurring in our district, so south of Canal Street. And a lot of the functions, if you go to the next one, a lot of the features in it have to do, you can look at the summary, with pedestrian safety and reducing the distance that pedestrians have to cross. So this was about kind of rebalancing the car use with the bicycle use, with the pedestrian use. And what I found kind of interesting and novel for those who've always wondered, this will have the hash marked, the lined area that is the buffer area between the bike lane and the vehicle movement and the parking lane. I started to see some vehicles were actually doing vertical parking, much as you would do in a mall, instead of doing parallel parking next to the hashed area, and asked for the DOT, and they said, can't do that. The reason that the hashed area is there, it is protection, but the emergency vehicles need that width along with the bike lanes. So nobody can park in that area. Report it if you see it. Nobody should be in there because that means no emergency vehicles can use that space. That's also why when bicyclists keep asking me, why can't you put a bollard at the beginning so only bikes can get in there? They can't do that because emergency vehicles are meant to be able to use the bike lanes when they need to. And next one. And for those who want to learn more, to reiterate what we've said before, DOT has put up all of the PDFs at that website. And you can also go to the YouTube for our community district and see it with the comments made. Next one. And we also, so I want to thank the committee, did put together questions regarding equity and inclusion for the projects that come before the transportation committee. So that was a great achievement, and I thank everyone for getting that done. This will be a work in process, and we'll look at it as projects come up and we try to use it. Thank you.
Betty, that's awesome. If you can share those with the other committees or give it to the office and we'll share it because it certainly can help them. You're one of the first of the committees to get that done. And I will say, whether people like it or not, I do think the solution and the way the bike lanes work on the bridge are ideal because everybody's unhappy. The cars are unhappy, they lost space. The bicycles are unhappy, they don't have enough. The pedestrians are unhappy because they feel they don't have enough. So I think it's a perfect solution. Everybody's unhappy. But
well,
it really,
actually, the pedestrians are kind of happy because they have put signs up, no bicycles are allowed on the promenade above. That has been done.
It will make the pedestrian experience crossing the Brooklyn Bridge a much more healthy and less stressful. So it's really great. So good job. All right, moving on. Thank you, Betty. Would be Patrick from Land Use.
All right, here we go. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
Great, thanks. So we had a very long land use meeting this past month. but really just two items that I think we can zip through quickly. We had an item that carried over from July where we had our presentation and public hearing on open restaurants. And I'll talk about our resolution on that in a moment. And then secondly, we had a presentation, public hearing, committee debate, discussion, and resolution on the disposition of the Seaport Properties ULURP, which is a lease prospect. So taking first the open restaurants application, I'll assume everyone has had a chance to go through the resolution. We talked about this a little bit at the July full board. This is the city's expansion of the open restaurants program that the DOT introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic into a permanent program. It's raised a lot of questions, it's raised a lot of concerns on those for and against. And so we had a fairly robust discussion, I would say, within our committee this month, and came up with a resolution that is a no vote. It's not a no because we dislike restaurants or open restaurants or the concept of supporting those folks. It's a no because it's sort of a chicken and the egg conversation with the city on introducing this text amendment now. So major headline highlight for everybody is that the city is going to continue the program on a temporary basis for several years to come. With that in mind, I think that it'd be fair to say that the committee was really concerned that why are we pushing this through now when there are so many legitimate and open questions about how this program is going to work, how it's going to be regulated, how applications are going to be processed, and particularly in Community District 1 where we have small streets, how it's all going to fit in. This is not to say that the committee felt that open restaurants in and of themselves are a bad thing or don't fit within our community. I think certainly a lot of people felt they do, and there are businesses that are succeeding because of it. And that use of the public space in the streets in some other way than just parking makes sense within our community. It's not a negative feeling on that. It's really just a concern about why is the text amendment coming now while the program is sort of half-baked. So that's really the most succinct way I can try to put it. If you look through the resolution, it ultimately, therefore, be it resolved that we are opposed to the open restaurants text amendment because of these several bulleted point reasons, which I think I just outlined. There's basically too many unanswered questions. Now, I know Tammy and the borough president referred to comments from other community boards that we heard during borough board and throughout their meetings in the past couple of months. So I would defer to Tammy on any of those, but it seems to me to be fairly straightforward, fairly unified, at least within the borough of Manhattan, as to how everyone is coming down. Again, it's not a distaste for, no pun intended, for open restaurants and the program in and of itself. It's just this text amendment seems to be a really big deal at a time when not all the details have been fleshed out and the rush is unclear. So with that, I'll take any questions on the text amendment or on the resolution.
Okay, I see some hands that are up. I see some hands who are giving applause, so it's kind of fun.
Nice.
Joe,
I see it.
I don't know if your hand is still up. We are in the middle. We're going to go through this and then we're going to take a pause because I believe Deborah Glick is here, Assemblymember Glick, so she'll go after. We'll interrupt your report. I apologize.
Sorry,
let's go through questions on this. We're going to go Pat Moore, Andrew Zelter. Joe Lerner, you need to let me know if your hand is up for real or not.
It's up. It's up.
All right, so you're going to go third. It's going to go Pat Moore, Andrew Zelter, Joe Lerner.
Patrick, sorry I wasn't able to make your meeting and join in the discussion. I have a question though. Why has it been moved to DOT instead of leaving it with Consumer Affairs? Even if they wanted to make it a program that was, for the next 3 years, so-called temporary, why did they move it out of the jurisdiction of Consumer and to DOT? Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a hazard guess. but they alluded to the notion that this is because it's in the street bed, that this is DOT territory. So we know in the sidewalks, amazingly in the city of New York, nobody's responsible for the sidewalks. It's an amazing gap in the function of our city government.
Is half of these restaurants that have started the open streets are using both the sidewalk and the street bed.
Perhaps.
And so it should fall under the same jurisdiction.
And that's a problem we've identified, I think, in the resolution, particularly as it relates to sidewalk.
Yeah, it looks like a good resolution.
But just to answer your question more directly, because the program theoretically relates to the street beds, that's where DOT comes in. So space between two buildings, as long as it's curb to building, is totally unregulated. But
you see what I'm saying? It's just stupid to have two different agencies to fall under the jurisdiction of two different agencies. It should
I would tell you welcome to New York, but I think that would
I know
be insulting to
a New Yorker born and raised. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Andrew Zelter, then Joe Lerner, then Betty Kay. Andrew? If Andrew has stepped away or pulled his hand down, we'll go. Andrew, you back? Okay.
His hand just went down, Tammy.
Yeah, I see. Betty Kay?
Yeah, I understand the concern that everybody has, and certainly the other community boards, because I've read their resolutions, is that they don't know what the rules are yet, and they don't want to give permission to move it to the DOT when they don't know the rules. But they know that that it has to move because of the roadbed. So the text amendment is just, as the people from city planning said, a formality of the law has been passed. The law hands it over to the Department of Transportation. So there's no vote about that. It's in the law. City planning is merely trying to carry out the law, because until they do that, the financial resources don't go to the Department of Transportation to allow them to hire the people to implement the permanent program, which starts in 2023, January of 2023. So the order, while it seems backward to community boards who want to hear the rules created before they say it's okay to pass it to the DOT, the passage to the DOT is already in the law. And if you don't pass this first, there is no money for the DOT to write the rules that you want to hear.
It's Betty. Okay, sorry, I hear somebody talking behind you. I apologize.
Well, I think it's a fair counterpoint, Betty. It was the sense of the committee, however, that while all of that may be true, and certainly rules get written and regulations get written after a law, that's how laws work in our country, that it was unclear why the rush, why there couldn't be some sort of further community input when the city has already committed to extend the program on a temporary basis. I'm not arguing with you about it, but I'm just sort of noting that was the sense of the committee when it came to that point.
And that was the sense of the community board as well, because there is no administrative process that is set up. There is no framework. There is nothing. And this particular department has a different form of public engagement that is based on their core mission. This is not part of the core mission. That none of those things have been delineated, which could have been done before the zoning text amendment. And even at the borough president's office, that is a fairly unanimous consensus about how they felt about that. And again, Betty, if you don't like the resolution, you do not have to vote for it, as you know.
I understand, but I want you to know too that I'm looking at doing a resolution about the rulemaking process and recommendations from the board. So for those who have ideas, they can also
see where we're at.
Put those together.
That needs to come out though. That cannot. The rules that we'll talk offline about what committee that comes out of, because that is not sidewalk cafes and quality of life and SLA does not belong in DOT, which would not go to Transpo. So we need to sort of figure out how we're going to do that going forward, because this is a very convoluted, not so fantastic position. And I don't want to have that discussion right now. It's not right yet. Okay. All right.
But Betty, I do appreciate the point, and just obviously Civics 101 is that rules get promulgated by agencies after laws are passed by legislative bodies. So we sort of understand that. I think that, well, we've made it clear here. Was Joe next?
Yeah, yes. Another unanswered question. So a restaurant goes out of business and they had a sidewalk eatery. They go out of business. Is that sidewalk eatery go to the landlord in perpetuity, or what happens? I know you don't know, but I'm bringing it up now so we can think about it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, the city has a program for derelict outdoor eating structures.
That doesn't mean anything. The city has lots of programs.
The DOT has removed derelict eating structures, so they're responsible for managing the removal of them. That's how I understand it.
All right, Joe's planting that seed for thought. Thank you. Who's next?
Moving on, after Betty, after Joe, Gerald, Vicky, and then if I don't see any other hands, you can certainly call the question if you want.
Mr. Forsberg, hit us.
Yeah, I wanted to add that this text amendment, when you think of amendment, people are thinking that we're changing, amending text. But I just wanted to point out that in reality, I've read the amendment and 95% of it seems to be struck out. And that's 95% of existing law that has, I think Alice had pointed out that it was about 30 or 40 years worth of decisions being made in the community, community votes, community discussion, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, so my sense with this resolution was that slowing it down with the hopes of also seeing some actual new language to replace the existing language and the 30 years of decision making and regulating in the city is what we were hoping for as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Vicky?
I'm sorry, Patrick. As you know, I was not able to attend this meeting, but I think
Totally
I
understandable.
Yeah, I know. I think I forwarded an article that a CB2 member had sent to us describing that they had done a survey for the restaurants above whatever street, and that something like 90 or whatever percent I recall from the article saying that the restaurants had failed the inspections. Did we take that into consideration, that people are doing whatever they want and DOT is not enforcing it?
Well, we certainly talked about enforcement in terms of any articles or information that came from other sources. We didn't have it at the time of our meeting, so I can't say that we considered that, but and I would be remiss to put anything in our resolution that wasn't presented at the committee meeting, but I hear your point.
I see. Okay, just sharing what CB2 had discovered. Okay, thanks,
Sure.
Patrick.
Thank you.
This is, Vicky, we have alternate opportunities and conversations that we can have on this because it still has to get through city council. So we
Okay,
can certainly
great.
follow up.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome, Justine.
Okay, just to sort of, I think this is kind of a stupid question, but I do. But okay, so basically what I'm hearing from a lot of people is opposing the text amendment, and the resolution opposes the text amendment. Am I missing something?
No, you have it.
So voting for this resolution is voting in support of a lot of the comments and the resolution, of course.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
We are opposed. We are opposed because, and there's a lot of stuff to be worked out. Again, well, leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure I got it, so I knew who to.
No problem. And I do not see any other hands up. So Patrick.
Call the question, Madam Chair.
Call the question. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. I think we're going to go the way we have done thus far. Everyone will be considered a yes unless you need to vote no. When you need to vote no, you have to say your last name and your vote. I'm going to call no's, abstentions, recusals, and those who are late who have not shown, who have just joined us. So, are there any no's? Are there any abstentions?
Hay abstains.
Coleman abstains.
Are there any recusals? Fantastic. Amoruso.
Amoruso is a yes.
Okay. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to Assembly Member Glick. Welcome to Community Board 1.
Hi, it's nice to be with you tonight. I was at a meeting of the Society of Pharmacists, so I'm sort of on the waterfront, walking back from downtown, and so I just want to say that it's been a surprisingly busy time. I was in Albany for a hearing on banning
Can
neonicotinoid.
someone please mute Bruce?
Okay. Hi, Bruce.
Apologies, Deborah. Bruce has his mic on. Thank you.
For pesticides, and it was a hearing that was held. Broad range of people coming, lots of people who are in agriculture concerned about not being able to use these particular pesticides, but a lot of health concerns and also environmental concerns about groundwater and the way in which it is a disruptor for all sorts of, critters, and we're at the top of the food chain, so it's not so great for us either. I also traveled to the Adirondacks to talk to the Adirondack Council about the issues of forest management and, in fact, overuse. Both the Catskills, the Adirondacks, during this pandemic, did not have sufficient staff to deal with what went from, maybe 10,000 hikers to 35 or 40,000 hikers, many of whom are not particularly properly trained or prepared. You need water on a hike. You can't do it in flip-flops, that sort of thing. So it was very interesting exploration of the concerns that we have when we want people to go out and enjoy the great part of New York State, but to do it safely. And the limited number of forest rangers is greatly concerning. And the tremendous number of rescues that have been multiplied because a lot of unskilled and unprepared people are doing a good thing, getting out into the open, but doing it not safely. So that was very informative. And on the topic that was just discussed, I feel very strongly that the text amendment is wrong. It is done without any surveys of the impact on emergency services. It is a handing to one industry public space that you can only enjoy if you have the money to enjoy it. It is takes up a tremendous amount of room. They are doing no enforcement on oversized establishments. Those that are following the rules are at a disadvantage because their neighbor down the block has taken twice as much space as the regulations would permit. We have additional trash and vermin, and there are a lot of retail establishments that feel that they cannot be seen across the street because of the the sheds that have been, put up. So we can't just benefit one industry to the detriment of others, including, filming. New York State makes a strong commitment to provide tax credits to encourage filming and create jobs. And they are finding it very difficult, for space. Oh, there goes a helicopter. A little bit of noise down here, eh? I don't think it's sightseeing at this time. I'm not sure what the heck it is, but it was quite noisy. Anyway, I digress. They not only can't find the space, but they've looked at locations, and the location is completely different now. So it is a very serious problem in communities that are mixed use. In many parts of the city, there are residential areas that are removed from commercial strips. We don't live like that. We live on top of the noise. We have problems for people who have mobility issues. It is hard on many blocks if you're using a walker or a wheelchair to navigate. And add to that, the cyclists on the sidewalk. It's a challenge. So this is ill-conceived. It is at the end of the mayoralty of an individual who I think, spends his time living in a park and then traveling around the city in a SUV cocoon without understanding the impact. And the last thing I'll say about it, it removes any community review. And I just think that that is a bedrock of our democracy, allowing the community to weigh in on how it will be operated is a core principle. And I think that this obviates that completely. So I will be testifying. I've been reaching out to colleagues who frankly didn't even know that this was happening. And that is shocking and upsetting. And it is exactly why the mayor is pushing this now, because people don't even know it's happening. So I will cease the diatribe and say that I'm pleased that you're on board, and I will be testifying and urging others to do so as well.
We appreciate that. And if you read the local media, they will tell you that 38% of all the film permits in New York City are in Community Board 1. So we are well familiar with how this works.
So I thank you all. And as usual, it's always a pleasure to be with you. I usually am not sitting on the waterfront, however.
It is lovely. Do you have a moment or two for questions? If
Sure.
the board would like to ask you some?
Sure.
I'm looking to see hands up. I see Richard Corman. I'm going to start with Richard Corman. I don't know if he was just applauding. His hands are up.
I was just applauding. That's all I was doing, Deborah.
Thank you, Richard.
Assembly member.
Your
assessment of that was spot on.
Yes, definitely. But I see Mark Amoruso. I don't know if it's old.
Justine, I'm getting there. It's okay. Did you have anything you'd like to say? Okay.
Just thank you.
Are your hands up?
Yes. Hi, Deborah. Mark Emerso here.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. Two quick things. The issue with the film permits, we have a big issue with that. Community board has chimed in on this. We have a resolution, and they keep the mayor's office keeps giving them permits to take away alternate side parking from the residents, and it's just for they're not filming on the street. They're basically just putting campers, trailers, craft service, this and that. And every time if a production comes down, and it seems like it's more and more and more and more now, it's a huge inconvenience for the residents. So that's just an FYI on that part. And I'm going to ask you, I recall you had the seminar some years ago about the bird strikes on hitting the buildings. Yep. And that's been in the news a lot lately. Yep. And I know you had the legislation based on that, but it seems like it's getting worse. Can you talk a little bit about that, and if there's anything in the offing for enforcement or fines or anything to stop this, because it's really horrible.
Well, I will say that the most recent bird kill was related to, it's migration, and most birds migrate at night. And when we have, Lower Manhattan is part of the Atlantic Flyway, and the city is, and we have a lot of birds that drop into Central Park to restore themselves, feed, water, and then they take off again. And the lights are very disorienting. So there are efforts to dim lights. It would be good for all sorts of critters to have less light pollution, but some of it is decidedly about, bird safe glass. The city has passed a local law, but it is, it's new. And so it's about new construction and major renovations, but an awful lot of the glassy towers were built before. And it's a pretty simple thing to sort of make glass visible to birds. The reflective glass makes it look like you're flying into the sky because it's reflecting the sky, or a tree. And so it is a serious problem. There's a building, a curved glassy building on Central Park West, maybe around 110th Street. And it is a killing machine. The same was true of Javits. There was a major renovation of Javits, completely changed the glass to bird safe glass, and it is now, there are no bird strikes there. So, we have to get developers. There have to be, has to be part of the discussion when anybody ever talks to me, comes to the office to let us know there's going to be some development here or there. We always bring that up, that there has to be bird safe glass. It's a fritted glass so that it becomes visible. It does not affect how we see the glass, but it helps birds. But it is also the lights, and that's very disorienting. And sadly, the tribute in light is a problem. They try to work with Cornell Ornithological Lab to observe radar, and when there's a large group of birds, they try to shut it off briefly. But it's a problem, and people are a problem for the natural world. We just had 22 species delisted from endangered species because they're extinct, and we are facing a calamity.
I think in Community Board 1 very specifically, we see that a lot. There's been a lot of news media reporting about the problems that are had at both World Trade Center as well as Brookfield, and a lot of the other modern, converted and towers, because we have so many down here. So the dead birds are a major issue. We don't have enough open space, so it's kind of a, there's no place for the birds to hide, so to speak.
Yes, and now they're going to build an alleged climate center on, open space in Governors Island. We can't get rid of this guy soon enough.
And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention is a follow-up to Mark. It really isn't about the loss of parking in terms of, we're not arguing over parking, but what we're arguing is that when the film crews come in, we had hoped that they would support the local businesses.
Right.
And be able to do catering and craft services utilizing any of the local businesses. That's not happening. And besides that, they tow local residents and workers for private cars that come in for the film shoot. And that's really the kind of thing, if you're driving a private car coming to a film shoot, go park in a garage.
That has been a long, look, let me tell you, Board 2 has similar complaints and experiences. And I will pledge to you that if there is a renewal of the tax credit, there will be additional requirements, we have argued strongly that they should be using, they do employ a lot of local people, but they're not using the catering services that could be available to help neighborhood establishments recover.
Tammy, can we send Deborah our resolution?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, and it is a little bit about parking. Today, a production on North Moore Street, I was finally contacted producer, and they couldn't release the parking on the alternate side, but they offered that they were going to participate, give people vouchers for parking spaces that needed them. So it's something, but.
Well, we will, Mark, I appreciate that, and we will work on that. You know, some of the issues of, you know, how we use our streetscape is part of this text amendment. It's a problem. They may be getting more concentrated in some areas because there are less options for them, and that's also a part of the issue.
Understood.
Well, thank you very much. Does anybody else have any other questions for Deborah?
Thanks, Deb.
Thanks.
We completely appreciate you taking the time, especially on your way back home, to join us. Thank you very much. I will say that we will be calling you because we do have issues in your area. And I know you missed the beginning. We did lose on 240 Greenwich, which is in your area. The Department of City Planning did not actually take in the public testimony and the comments that we gave in their deliberations and awarded the developer to privatize the public space.
Well, you know, we will look at that, and I thank you for all of the good work that you all do, and stay safe and, you know, stay warm. It's a little chilly tonight.
Thank you, Deborah.
Bye-bye.
Seeing you, Deborah. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, let's return it over to Patrick, and let's do the disposition of Seaport properties, please.
All right, well, this is unfair to follow that level of intellect and wonkiness, so I will do my best. Seaport disposition is a little bit of a misnomer, but let me explain what is going on. So under the city charter, anytime city-owned property is leased or there is an amendment to a lease or a modification of a lease, that's considered a disposition of property that has to go through a ULURP process. They're not disposing of Seaport properties and getting rid of them, lest anyone think of that, but I don't think those who were present at the committee meeting misunderstood that. This is an application by the New York City Department of Small Business Services, SBS, to really extend an existing lease that exists with HHC's subsidiary called South Street Seaport Limited Properties. So the important takeaway here is that this, while it's being termed a 99-year lease, it's effectively an additional 48-year extension of a lease. Not a small matter, but it's not 99 years on top of something else. It's 48 years from what was already agreed. So what the applicants have represented is that the disposition action will continue to facilitate active uses within the disposition area, which I'll explain in just a moment, and that it'll allow HHC effectively to make long-term investments in that area. So the proposed modifications include a 99-year term expiring in 2120. As I mentioned, that's an extension of 40-some years beyond what is currently in place. There will be an additional rent reset in 2097 with 3% annual increases in between. There's a proposal to swap retail space on Schermerhorn Block with Seaport Museum to occupy the prime corner location. This is basically the Sarah Jessica Parker shoe store, and that the John Street lot have the right of first refusal. So HHC maintenance and security obligations will continue to be the same. And the proposed public benefits, this is what we're most interested in for sure, in terms of the lease renewal, includes that HHC will construct or fund Esplanade improvements north of its leasehold properties, which would estimate to be about $8.8 million. That HHC will fix the Titanic Park at a cost of an estimated $1 million, and that HHC will continue to offer the Fulton Stall Market free space at 133 Beekman through April of 2031. Look, it's no secret that folks are concerned with Seaport issues in HHC and how the property all works together, particularly given the ULURP application that we visited just a month ago. This application was visited upon us effectively in late July, which meant because of the kind of application that it is, we really didn't get the opportunity to benefit from the August respite period. And we had to hold our public hearing, our presentation, our deliberation, and our resolution all at our September meeting. And it felt very urgent to the committee. So the resolution that you see before you really shows that we have voted no with conditions, really expressing that we just don't understand the urgency. Why, if there are 50-some years left on the lease, the city feels, EDC and SBS feels they need to extend this lease out 99 years. But be that as it may, they're entitled to do that. And if they want to do that, we think there are a number of things that need to be considered. Those are our conditions. The conditions, as you can see, there's 14 of them laid out. And I would ask Diana to unmute herself and include herself in the conversation because there are two more that I think didn't make it into this resolution necessarily, but that our community board and certainly our committee at the meeting had discussed, and they relate to the use of Pier 17 and some comments from 32.
Patrick, I think you muted yourself.
No, we're looking for you, Diana.
Oh, you are, okay. So I would recommend there's item 2 here, which reads as additional active recreation space should be identified and built out, i.e. Pier 17, Brooklyn Banks. I advise splitting those and putting a specific item on the Pier 17 rooftop, since that's been such a persistent and specific issue. To have one item on the Pier 17 rooftop. People often reference the spirit of the original agreement and how the community originally envisioned that space as something that had a lot more public and community access. So I think there's enough there, and it's specific enough to make it its own item. And then in addition to that, have that item about additional active recreation space separate from Pier 17 or additional to Pier 17. That's my first recommendation.
Okay. Can you just mention the second one and then I'll take questions on it?
And for those that were on the September meeting, we had a representative attend from 32 BJ that spoke very specifically about building service workers and benefits and a living wage. So I think that's something that the committee and the board should consider if they took the time to attend the meeting and speak on that, is adding that as a specific point.
And I would just say on that point, by the way, the committee did talk about that and express support for that representative. We just didn't, in the fog of, I don't know, 10 o'clock or whatever we were going on at that time, include that as a specific bullet point, but I think we meant to. I think that reflects the sense of the committee. So with that, let's go to questions. Tammy, unless you care to call it, I'll go in the order that I see hands up. Mark Amoruso, Bruce Ehrman.
Sorry, I forgot to take it down.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ehrman.
I promised that I wouldn't make any more comments to myself tonight, and my camera's off because I finally took off my shirt. So that all being said, sorry, Tammy.
Thank you for putting it back on.
I didn't. I turned the camera off. That all being said, I just want to say that the issue, first of all, I absolutely agree with putting the trade union living wage matter as one of the bullet points, and I'm sure we will tonight. Call it a friendly amendment. We have been battling Howard Hughes and the city regarding the seaport for so long. including the things that we're asking for now. I mean, we never got on the roof of Pier 17 what we were promised. On the contrary, it's exactly what we didn't want that they gave us. We should just know that unless we pour tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars into the pockets of the politicians who check the yes or no boxes, we won't get anywhere. You know, we have good intentions. We're the community board, but I am telling you cynically at this point, after listening to 20 years of this crap, that we will get nowhere. I'm sorry.
Bruce, that doesn't mean we don't try.
Okay.
That's what we're here for. Represent and advocate for what the community is asking. And even if we don't win, you have to try. Because if you don't say anything, you get nothing. If you say something, sometimes you get something.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that this is obviously connected to the whole Seaport plan, but it's not in and of itself a specific development proposal. So this is a great place for us to make those sort of, conditions known. Thank you for that point. Tammy, your hand is actually up. Are you?
It is simply because we said the public amenities should go beyond 10 years. I would actually counter that should say through the term of the lease. So if they're looking for a 99-year extension, public benefit should not be something that limits it 10 or 20. Yeah. It should be through the terms, appropriate or in consultation, but benefits should continue throughout the terms of the lease.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think that reflects what we talked about. We were probably not careful in our language, but that definitely should tie with the term of the lease. Because if they shorten it, extend it again, whatever, we want to make sure that's there. So fair point, and we would make that change.
I mean, exactly. And then when you have the Fulton Stall Market, that amenities could extend beyond 31 with that. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't want to limit it for just 10 years. I just want to say they should go throughout the lease. And there is speculation and conversation because the potential benefit that had been discussed for the lighthouse had already been discussed, had already been agreed to be funded. So that does not seem like a new benefit, and that there should be consideration of new public benefits that include the community and dialogue.
Okay. Rosa?
Hi, just wanted to say I agree 100% with what Tammy said about it lasting through the term of the lease. That's what I remember from the conversation. I think maybe it got confused with the 10-year reset or market rate reset, and that's why it got jumbled up. And then the other thing I want to say was that I agreed with you 100% as well about the fact that I think the intention was absolutely there, at least on my part, to demand the living wage. And I was really impressed with the speaker from the union. And then, yes, I think I remembered, like, after the meeting was over, my brain was dead. Oh, we forgot to put that in there. So yeah, that was absolutely the intent.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that. All right. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, let's call the question, may we? Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We're going to roll. So again, same thing. You are a yay. We have no new members who have joined us since the last vote. So being that, do we have any noes? Do we have any abstentions?
Kettering abstains.
Coleman abstains.
Thank you, Kettering. Thank you, Coleman, for abstentions. Any other abstentions? Any recusals? Fantastic. Motion passes. Thank you all. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you all.
Hopefully, maybe land use might have it a little bit easier in October, but I highly doubt it.
We're getting close to the end of this administration, so we'll see.
All right, Wendy Chapman, thank you for presenting for environmental protection. Welcome to the fray.
Hi, everyone. Alice is out tonight. What we've decided to do is Diana and I are going to split it. The first part of it is the 250 Water Street brownfield cleanup. So I'm going to ask Diana to start the discussion, and then I'm going to take the second part with the Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency. So Diana, are you good to go?
I'm here, I'm ready. Let's see, I'm pulling up the slides, and I will note, and I'll get to this at the end. Right now, we're at the very literal tail end of the comment period for the 250 Water Street Brownfield Cleanup Program Remedial Action Work Plan comment period. That's the actual cleanup plan. It comes after the investigation. We had the original deadline fell at a very inopportune time in consideration of the school communities and all of the return to school timing and the coinciding with the summer break and all of that. And the community board, we wrote 2 letters to the department, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, really urging an extension until October 15th. All of our expert and independent community consultant, Laura Dodge, the consultant for the Blue School, our elected officials, the community groups, were all pushing in concert for this extension. And the comment period was extended some until September 30th, which is today, but not all the way until the October 15th date, which is very unfortunate. But at the end of this recap on the remedial action work plan, I'll get to the actual submission that we sent today. So this is a flow chart of the actual whole brownfields cleanup program. And currently we are in that comment period that I just referenced. It's a 45-day comment period. It was extended some, but not altogether. And as part of that comment period, the community is entitled to request a public meeting on the remedial action work plan, which is what we had at the September 21st meeting. I will note that it was one of our best attended virtual meetings with just over 140 attendees at the peak of the meeting. This follows the, hang on, I have a box blocking my view here. A remedial action overview. So the proposed remedy, the proposed cleanup captures a remedial design investigation where they do additional testing and study to help inform what the remedial plan will be. Excavation of the soil exceeding restricted residential soil cleanup objectives, about 15 to 18 feet below grade, remediation of groundwater, and institutional controls. The remedial design investigation includes additional study, and this is important because this was a big topic of discussion at the meeting, in that some test pit that was originally, I guess, supposed to take place during the investigation phase did not do during the investigation phase because it coincided with when the children were in school. And then it also did not take place during the summer break. And now there's discussion about it taking place during this design investigation phase, and the community is very opposed to that. We mentioned that in our letter. These were some of the mitigation measures during remediation that they referenced: construction, fencing, erosion and sediment control, stabilized truck entrance and exit, and support of excavation installation. The areas you see here are the mercury impacted soil remediation, or where they remove the mercury impacted soil. I don't know who that is, but I think someone needs to be muted.
Bruce,
areas of
hold on, Diana. Bruce, if you do not mute yourself, I will have you booted down to attendee where you cannot unmute.
Have you heard bad things? I didn't.
Yes, Bruce, just stay on mute, please. Thank you, everybody. Diana, please continue with expediency.
Yeah, from areas of 4 feet down to 16 feet. After that, there's site-wide excavation, UST removal, which is underground storage tank removal and groundwater remediation. Various monitoring programs like construction health and safety plan, community air monitoring plan, which the data is available to members of the public, quality assurance project plan, soil and fill management plan, and erosion and sediment control plan. And then final reports are the site management plan, environmental easement, and the final engineering report. So I'm going to switch to the letter that we submitted today, which I mentioned Laura Dodge, who's our expert independent community monitor. So this is our cover letter, and it goes with Laura's very technical comments on the remedial action work plan. And I mentioned 4 points here that were really key during the meeting, which is that when the details come out for that remedial design investigation, that work plan, that's after the public comment period. So we want all of the community consultants to have access to that and be able to comment on that before it's finalized. The issue with the test pits that I mentioned and the timing of the test pits and the planning of the test pits, we need more information and clarity on that. Some assurance that the most intrusive work won't take place while school's in session, or at least not while students are undergoing state testing, and the establishment of a stakeholder task force. And by the way, these are some of these requests we'd sent to DEC after the environmental meeting and had no response up until the comment period, which is very troublesome, because if we need to comment by the 30th and they don't grant the extension, it would have been nice to have some of that additional information to account for in our comment. I'll leave it there unless there are any questions.
Rosa, is your hand up currently, or is it old? I'll take it that there are no questions. I know that many people have participated. Mr. Corman, I'll take your applause for Diana. That looks great too. And I would say that's all we have for that. Now it's just LNCR Battery Wharf.
Yeah, Diana, thank you again for covering that. The next piece is the Lower Manhattan Coastal Resiliency Project that is in the Battery. You can go to the next slide, Diana. I think everyone knows kind of where this fits in. We're looking at the Battery in terms of the park. So next one. Okay, so just to kind of highlight, there is a resolution that's going to be voted on. This is going to, the update, which most of the update was why they needed to do the project, which I think we already know why. It's falling apart, sea level is coming, there's storm surge, and if they're going to do it, they're going to take advantage of redoing some of the access to the water. And certainly there's a lot to think about when it comes to the security tent for the Statue of Liberty and lots of other little pieces of it. Basically, this project is going to take 6 to 8 months when they finally break ground, and that should be in the winter of 2022 or 23. The design elevation is going to go up to 11 feet, which in kind of everyday terms means that the edge, or the high point of it, not the edge, but the high point, which will be where they put benches and gardens and other things, will be 5 feet on average from where it is right now. So that will certainly affect views and other things, but we'll get to that next. Okay, Diana, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so I think this is, again, the scope of the project. It's going to connect into the South Battery Resiliency Project, and then eventually into the FIDI Seaport Climate Resiliency Master Plan on the right. So you can go to the next one. I don't think we need to go into all the details as to, the design goals. Just what we're saying is, like, they have to do this project because the current structure is falling into the Hudson. So we can go to the next one. Try and go fast here. I already told you about the timing of it, that they're looking at winter of 2022 or 23. They're about halfway through the planning of the project. We certainly want to put all of our comments in because this will go before the Public Design Commission. So we want to make sure we add as much as we possibly can. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then this is just a little breakdown, and the whole presentation is, certainly, available if anyone wants to take a better look at each piece of it. There is a lot of thought that is going into, as you can see here, Castle Clinton is going to get it, a modification. Certainly the tent going out to the Statue of Liberty. There's a lot of talk about trying to move that entirely to a better location, where that is, what that means. That's another discussion. And the big thing is that they're going to try and, make sure that the plantings are salt tolerant and all of those good things. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so I think this is the one of the few slides I put in there that you can get a sense of what it's going to look like.
Wendy, you've got a
Yeah.
resolution forward on this.
Yeah, so okay, should we just jump to that?
I think you should.
Okay,
I
fine.
think that this is so much that it's so hard
It's
to
just
try
too
and
hard. Right. Well, and I think for the most part it's pretty straightforward. The resolution was passed unanimously. Yeah, I think there's just one more slide, right, Diana, that we put in there. So
Oops, I jumped the gun. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. If we go straight to the resolution, it's okay. I think that this resolution, it passed unanimously. I don't know how much time we need to spend on it. Maybe, I think I talked about a good bit of it, that the comments that we make in the resolution is mainly to give the Public Design Commission our thoughts for the future. And I don't know, maybe we should just take questions. Is that easier? I know you're pressed for time.
I think that would be a much better way to go, because you
Fair
did
enough.
so much of this in committee. It was really well done. So let's go
Yeah.
for questions.
Happy to do that.
Seeing
Beautiful.
no hands.
Okay.
Let's call the question. Do I get a second? Then second.
Second, sorry, having to unmute.
Second, yes.
So again, we're going to call for the vote. If you do not agree with yes for where we are going, then you must call your last name when we call the section. All those for a no? Do we have any abstentions? Do we have any recusals? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Ms. Wendy. All right, Justine, Battery Park City, take us down. And remember, you have reports.
I have only reports, I know, and I will be quick. Time to go. So no resolutions. The first thing we talked about, we had an extensive discussion about the volleyball court, which was a location that, one of the locations that BPCA and the governor's office had floated for a proposed essential workers monument. Several dozen attendees showed up to speak about how the court is an indispensable amenity that adds to the quality of life for countless residents and people who come to visit. They also brought with them a petition signed by more than 500 people right now who use the court and are adamant that it needs to be preserved and maintained. I asked the host, I don't know if it's Diana or Lucian, to post the link to the petition if anybody wants to read it and sign it, that would be great. And in this context, I would also point to Jeff Galloway's eloquent comments from July about how the volleyball court effectively functions as Battery Park City's town square. We host dozens of different events throughout the year, in addition to the athletic activities of a volleyball court. And it's also worth noting, and the reason why I'm even talking about this to this extent, is that Governor Kathy Hochul remarked recently that it will be very easy to consult with the community before making a final decision about where to locate the monument. There was some mystification among committee members, myself included, as to why this will be very easy. The perception here is that it needs to be an intensive, detailed, and lengthy process of consultation and collaboration, although including the community was a good thing. While on that subject, we asked the Battery Park City rep, Nick Spordone, for an update about the advisory committee for the authority that they announced back in July to help guide the sitting of the monument. 2 months later, this group has not convened. Of course, we've changed governors in between, but its members have received no information about when it will meet, how it will work, other than that they had been named to the panel. Nick said the advisory committee was still good to proceed, but as far as he knows, but has no real more information. It's slightly more encouraging than being told no, but we wanted to move on. Second thing we talked about, although I flipped the orders, but that's all right. We spent a big portion of our meeting discussing inclusion and equity. This was a really helpful start to an important conversation, part of which we got some information from Betty Kay, which I appreciated as some guidance because she did have some good points and good questions. And we're going to keep this as an ongoing discussion in every meeting. Some of the stuff we talked about is we examined how wide a net do we cast on defining what a community is. We also look at why Battery Park City and how it becomes more diverse when you include the people who work there alongside with the people who live in the community. And even broader when you think about the people who visit, use the parks, go to school here, all sorts of stuff. And our conclusion is that even among a quiet and seemingly homogenous small community, there's a lot of viewpoints and separations, and that we really need to get everybody into the mix. And what we were challenged by was how we bring every voice into the committee and into this board to be heard. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Thank you, Justine. Remember that the diversity and inclusion and equity conversations also need to be targeted to the work that's done with the Battery Park City Authority. So each committee has to target the questions to how to make things more inclusive and equitable within the agencies that they work with, targeted.
Makes sense. And I didn't put that together, but we did talk about it, and I'll be fast. We didn't talk about it, but it was interesting because the volleyball court people talked about that and brought up questions to Nick and asked about different ways in which the Battery Park City Authority could give them information beforehand, because they are an organized group where they can be contacted as to when it would be closed. So yes, it was good. It was really good conversation. Sorry, I didn't put the pieces together, but yes, to keep that in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to Trisha Joyce. You have one resolution and 2 reports.
Yes. Judith brought this resolution to us. So thank you, Judith. It is a resolution to have all of our New York City students vaccinated, those 12 and up. I'm sure you guys have read through it. It's very straightforward. Unless there's any questions.
Look for you. I don't. Seeing no questions in for the board and no hands raised, I say we call the question. Do I have a second?
Second.
Perfect. So rolling along. Are there, again, it's an affirmation vote in support of the resolution. Are there any no's? Hearing none. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none. Any recusals? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Trisha.
Thank you.
5 minutes tops for the 2 reports.
Yeah, got it. High school, I wish we had better news than these 2, but we had been on quite a roll. We had high school admissions, for those of you who remember, it was, they changed the high school admissions model this year, and they opened up geographic limits that had been on high schools. They just didn't let parents know until after the deadline for private and Catholic schools, leaving parents with very little choices. And they gave them the impression that they would have 12 choices and get into one of them. As you might remember, we had a significant amount of our kids that got none of their choices. And I had hoped to be able to come back and tell you, after we checked in with all of our principals, that the DOE would have listened to our resolution and found appropriate placements for our kids. But we had a dismal turnout in terms of those placements. In fact, there have only been 2. So that was unfortunate. We did have a handful of our kids attend Richard Green. We haven't spoken to those families yet to see if they're okay there. That's where they were assigned, and they went. And we had a lot of kids whose parents pulled them out. We have a homeschooling scenario from LMC. We have 10 people who've left the city. It's really sad. And we will be continuing to advocate, along with CB2 and the CEC of District 2, to see what we might be able to do for next year. Trinity Place Gymatorium. We unfortunately found out via PS 150's SLT meeting that the gymatorium they planned or they promised not to build at the new school, they are in fact building, and they claim that there isn't room for a full-size gym, and they didn't present these plans until after the cement had been poured on this gymatorium. It is unconscionable to me. It was covered in 3 of our papers. It was in the minutes of our 2016 October task force meeting. It passed a resolution in the spring of 2016 on this committee, and I have a letter from Carmen Freña herself promising not to build a gymatorium at this school. So we, seeing that the width of the school could never have supported a full gym in the first place, despite the fact that not one of those people, not one of those leaders said that to us at the time, we are now advocating for a freestanding gym to be built in Lower Manhattan, because we now have 3 out of 10 schools with full-size gyms. So we will be reporting back on that and hopefully making some progress. The SCA claims that they no longer can guarantee that they will have the ability to build gyms. You did hear me say that because of the strange foot plates they're getting. And so instead of finding other ways to build regulation sized gyms, they did sort of a press release saying how great is it because we're providing all these unique dance spaces and alternative spaces in schools. But, you know, we pointed out that you can't play a volleyball tournament in a dance space. So it dealt a huge blow to our competitive sports programs, our after school program. As you know, our gyms were 100% occupancy. So we are going to roll up our sleeves here and see what we can do to site a full-size gym and then try to find the money for that. So that'll be on upcoming agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Okay, Pat Moore, take us home. You've got a report, and then we have old business that will be our final roll call.
I'll be really fast. Okay.
So
we had an informative meeting where we were really prepping for World Trade Center number 5's people to come to the executive committee. So we wanted to be as knowledgeable as possible of what affordability was, how it was determined, what kind of programs they were. So between Lucian and Chris Walters, who came from Association for Neighborhoods and Housing Development, we got a good schooling. And I would encourage everyone to go and look at the YouTube video of our session, and they will learn what we learned. And that's basically it. This is a conversation that we will continue because as part of the Quality of Life Committee is the Affordable Housing Subcommittee. That's basically it.
Thank you, Pat. So old business are the resolutions that we passed in August in executive committee. They were passed at that time. We do need to ratify them at the next full board, which is today. We're going to take all 3 of them together. I would suggest, however, that we rescind Tunnel to Towers because the event has passed. We no longer need the resolution. It could be passed for historical purposes by full board. That's fine as well. Unless our parliamentarian feels differently on it.
A question.
Tammy,
yeah.
I didn't see that resolution on Tunnel to Tower. Did I miss it? I saw in the packet.
Did you pull it because the event had passed?
Yeah, we discussed it. The idea was that it's likely going to be rescinded, and
so I'm going to make a motion to rescind that one. Hold on, Tricia. Simply because the event has passed. And
I would second that motion.
Perfect. All right, so then we have two left to pass, 109 West Broadway and 412 Greenwich. I
Oh,
see
wait,
hands.
Tammy, should we take a vote on that, just the affirmation vote that we're rescinding that resolution?
I'm okay on that. Yeah, I was gonna try and lump them together, but I'm okay with that. Tricia, do you have a question on rescinding that reso?
No, another question on a different number.
Okay, so for rescinding the resolution for Tumulty Towers, because the event has passed, and they will be coming back to us for feedback with the community next month, I believe, or November. If all in favor, unless you are a no, do I hear any no's? Do I hear any abstentions? Do I hear any recusals? Motion passes. That resolution is rescinded. So now we have 109 West Broadway and 412 Greenwich. Both of them were passed at the executive meeting. Mark, do you have your hand up for this?
Yeah, can you just give the vote totals on those two resolutions?
From executive? Yeah, we can take a look. That'll take you a minute. So Tricia?
I just have a quick question on 109 West Broadway. At that meeting, they said that they could come back in 6 months to get Sunday changed from 12 to 1 and to also get the other nights changed from 1 to 2. I didn't see the latter here in this resolution. Did they rescind that request or was it just not here?
They can come back in 6 months. It doesn't necessarily have to be here. We can certainly amend it and put it in. That they
Okay.
will come back in 6 months to talk about extended hours and leave it general so they can have that flexibility.
Okay, great. I didn't see, I saw one and not the other and was just curious.
Okay. Mark, did you have any other questions? You've seen the vote tally. It's on the sheet.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? This is our last. I'm going to bundle them and Lucian, roll call, take us home. 9:24. Come on, we need to be gone by
All right,
9.
here we go. Everyone ready? Amoruso,
Yes, yes.
blank. Brown Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank you. Cameron.
Yes, Cameron, yes.
Thank you. Cassell.
Cassell, yes.
Thank you. Cowley. Golly. Chang.
Chang votes yes.
Thank you. Chapman.
Chapman votes yes.
Thank you. Charkoudian.
Charkoudian votes yes.
Thank you. Coleman.
Coleman votes yes.
Thank you. Corman.
Corman votes yes.
Thank you. Kuchia.
Kuchia votes yes.
Thank you. Curtis.
Curtis, yes.
Thank you. Ehrman.
Ehrman votes yes.
Thank you. Flores.
Flores, yes.
Thank you. Flynn.
Flynn, yes.
Thank you. Forsberg.
Forsberg votes yes.
Thank you. Friedman. Friedman.
Yes.
Thank you. Galloway.
Galloway, yes.
Thank you. Goldstein.
Goldstein, yes.
Thank you. Grant.
Grant, yes.
Thank you. Gupta.
Gupta, yes.
Thank you. James.
James, yes.
Thank you. Joyce.
Joyce, yes.
Thank you. Kay.
Yes.
Cannell.
Cannell votes yes.
Thank you. Kettering.
Kettering, yes.
Thank you. Capel. Capel.
Gotta make sure he's unmuted. He's over in the attendee section.
Unmuted. Let's see. Joel, you there? Is that you? No, I don't think he's there.
Okay.
All right, we'll go back. Let's see. Lamoury.
Lamoury, yes.
Thank you. Lerner.
Lerner, yes.
Thank you. Lewinson.
Lewinson, yes.
Thank you. Mahoney.
Mahoney, yes.
Thank you. McHugh.
McHugh, yes.
Thank you. Meltzer.
Meltzer, yes.
Thank you. Moore.
Moore, yes.
Thank you. Schneck.
Heck votes yes.
Thank you. Starr.
Star, yes.
Thank you. Sung. Jimmy.
Song, yes. Jimmy Song, yes.
Sung Vera.
Vera, yes.
Thank you. Townley. Weinstock. Is
Weinstock,
Townley-
yes. Weinstock, yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Is Bob in here? Bob Townley?
Nope.
Okay. I'm gonna edit that. Z.
Z, yes.
You.
Eric, you, yes.
Zelter.
Zelter, yes.
Thank you.
I think that's it, right?
That's it.
All right, so thank you, everybody. Congratulations to Mimi, or condolences, I'm not sure which. Welcome to elected leadership. You're a new assistant secretary. Welcome to Mr. Coleman. Thank you so much for joining Community Board 1. And with that, hearing nothing for new business, it is 9:28 and we are adjourned. Woo!
Yay.
Close the lights. Sorry, we got to stack the chairs. You know,
Good night, all.
Good night, all.
Night, everybody. Lucian and
Good night,
Tammy, have you
everyone.
heard from Mitch?
No, oddly, and he always comes, so we'll reach out.
I'll write him and see what's going on.
Yeah, okay.
He's emailed a
Night,
couple
everybody.
times for committee meetings saying he wasn't be able to make it. He may have emailed that today, but just in prep.
Because he didn't come to quality of life, and it's unusual for him to not reach out if he isn't going to come.
Let's do
He reached out for Q of L. He reached out for transportation, but I didn't see anything today for full board.
Let's do
Okay. Yeah, I'll text him and see, because I hope his mom's okay.
Close the recording.